Starting off with such intense action already, this peerlessly handsome man is actually being imprisoned by his own master. He was forcibly fed the world's most potent aphrodisiac, Mei Yao Fusheng Yaimeng. She is clearly trying to force herself upon him. Meanwhile, the crazy master covers her blushing face, watching him with a predatory, flirtatious gaze. It is all his fault for looking so seductive. She just can't resist the urge to possess him completely. My dear disciple, you belong to master alone. In the novel, the male lead Qianye is wicked, charming, domineering, and incredibly arrogant. He lives by the code of stopping violence with violence, a legendary figure who commands the winds and clouds, revered by thousands. In the cultivation world, he is honored as the Qianye Laozu. He is also the ultimate heartthrob for countless young maidens. Yet right now, he is facing such a scandalous ordeal. Smack. Furious in front of the screen, the girl who followed this book for 3 years smashes her phone. She can't help but roast the author. What kind of trash plot is this? Who would have thought that the next second, she would transmigrate into the body of this perverted master? Her happiness did not even last for 3 seconds. In the blink of an eye, she became the transmigrator with the fastest record for getting killed off. When she is reincarnated, back to the very beginning of the story, becoming the top-tier beauty of the cultivation world, Changjun Zhenren. She vows to change her horny master persona and turn over a new leaf. She is determined to build a glorious and virtuous image of a master in front of Qianye. She plans to use love to nurture and reform him while he is still a young boy. However, why does she always feel a faint, lingering, killing intent in the air? Little does she know, this man was also reincarnated with all his past memories, and he has sworn to kill Shen Changjun once again in this lifetime, with both of them returning through reincarnation. What kind of interesting story will unfold between them? Can the horny master manage to save her own skin in the future? Next, a new chapter begins. Brace yourselves, the romantic fluff is coming. 10. He ended up with his body destroyed and his soul scattered. How could he have expected that when he opened his eyes? He had actually been reborn back to the day he first became her disciple. But what he does not know is that his master is just like him. Right now, Qianye looks at his seemingly defenseless master. He immediately opens his palm, ready to commit the ultimate betrayal and strike her down. But he forgot that his current cultivation level is far too low. In his master's eyes, this little trick is simply not even worth mentioning. Seeing this scene, he is instantly petrified. Where is my Benming Dutang? Forget it, I should learn to lay low first. I will wait for an opportunity to take my revenge later. Before they knew it, the master had already brought Qianye to her cultivation peak. Shen Changjun thinks to herself, as long as I teach him everything I know without holding back, my little disciple will surely be moved to tears. She then waves her hand grandly and shouts, from now on, you can study any cultivation technique here as you please. But when she sees her own collection of rare scrolls, she is completely stunned. What on earth is this crap? Was I really this much of a pervert in my past life? She immediately rushes to slam the doors shut. She then feigns composure and says, that was just an illusion I set up to test you. Disciple, do not take it seriously. But how could she know? Qianye was reborn with all the memories of his past life. Afterwards, the master takes Qianye to the Fakir. She intended to gift him a few handy weapons. But the moment she opens the door, she slams it shut again with a loud bang. Then she awkwardly suggests, let us go check out the pharmacy first instead. As it turns out, the pills inside are all forbidden substances. At this point, the master is speechless. Exactly what kind of villain was I in my past life? Left with no other choice. She could only take her little disciple to her palace for the night first. However, to Qianye, this move looks completely different. Does this woman really not even spare a child? Terrified, he lets out a cry and bolts away as fast as he can. Now the master is the one who is dazed. Where did I go wrong? Why did he get scared like that? Just as she is considering how to win over this little disciple, a name suddenly flashes into her mind. That is right. It is the junior sister who was Qianye's white moonlight in his past life, Wai Shengru. But she has suddenly been possessed by the soul of our 21st century female lead. So it turns out the plot just now was all part of a novel. The female lead simply complained that the author's writing was too ridiculous. And then, she unexpectedly transmigrated into the body of the master in the novel. Looking at the disciple before her, who was radiating murderous intent, the female lead could not help but have a massive nosebleed. But just as she was debating whether or not to give him a taste, in the next second, her body was pierced through by her disciple's Benming Dutang. At this moment, our female lead was absolutely fuming. How could she get a game over right after transmigrating? However, when she opened her eyes again, she realized she had actually been reborn back to the day she took Qianye as her disciple. She originally thought about killing him right then and there, there to nip the problem in the bud. But when she saw the young Zhu Qianye, the female lead's maternal instincts instantly went into overdrive. She immediately decided to protect this tender little disciple with all her heart. However, what she never expected was that at this time, her disciple had also been reborn with all the memories of his past life. It is just that his cultivation level was still too low right now. He could only lie low under his master's wing, waiting for the right chance to exact his cold-blooded revenge. Knowing the plot inside out, the female lead found the still very young Wai Shengru. This girl truly deserves to be the disciple's white moonlight from the past life. With just one glance and a smile, she instantly captured the hearts of a whole crowd of senior brothers. Just as the female lead was wondering how to take her in as a disciple, to her surprise, Wai Shengru actually pounced over on her own initiative. Those little eyes, full of idolization, instantly won over the female lead's heart. Immediately after, she leaned close to her ear and whispered, "Tonight at midnight, I will be waiting for you at the back of Jinyan Feng." Before leaving, she did not forget to give her a shush gesture. This move made our little junior sister behind her blush, and her heart skip a beat. But Zhu Qianye, who was watching this scene from the shadows, was furious. He never thought Master would not even spare a little girl. However, the female lead actually wanted to give Wai Shengru a magical treasure. As long as she could play matchmaker for her disciple and the junior sister, then her disciple naturally would not want to kill her later on. But Zhu Qianye completely misunderstood Master's intentions. He ran to Master's bedchamber and announced he was sleeping with her tonight. As soon as he finished speaking, he climbed onto the bed without a care, while at the same time saying, "Isn't this exactly what you wanted?" But as it turned out, Master ignored him completely. Instead, she grabbed the treasure and prepared to go to Jinyan Feng to find the junior sister. Zhu Qianye was totally stunned. Could it be that he was not selected for tonight? He immediately jumped off the bed and desperately hugged Master's leg to stop her. But right at that moment, a bolt of lightning suddenly streaked across the sky. The sound could not help but trigger many of Zhu Qianye's past memories. Back when he was an orphan, he wandered everywhere and was constantly bullied by others. Whenever lightning struck on a rainy night, he would be so scared that he would tremble all over. And in his previous life, he was even blasted to pieces by the lightning tribulation. So, as soon as he heard the thunder, Zhu Qianye subconsciously could not stop himself from shaking. But right then, a gentle jade-like hand was suddenly placed on his head. Who would have thought? It was actually Master, softly comforting him. In the end, in order to coax him to sleep, Master had no choice but to hold Zhu Qianye and fall asleep together. Meanwhile, the poor junior sister over at Jinyan Feng was in a bad spot. Drenched in the rain, she was still wondering why Master had not shown up yet. The reborn Zhu Qianye woke up the next morning, only to find Master right there beside him. With no one else around and Master completely off guard, this was the perfect chance to kill her with his own hands. But just as Zhu Qianye was about to make his move, a chilling wave of murderous intent suddenly came from the distance. If he struck now, he probably would not be able to make it out alive either. After thinking it over several times, Zhu Qianye decided to hold off on killing her for now. Just then, Master finally woke up from her slumber. She then looked at Zhu Qianye and asked, "Do these clothes fit you well? Last night, but I changed them for you with my own hands." Hearing those words, Zhu Qianye flew into a rage, looking like he wanted to drag her down to hell with him. However, his master spoke up again. "It is only because you wet the bed last night." As soon as she said that, Zhu Qianye instantly felt his entire world crumble. But then, a familiar voice suddenly rang out. As it turns out, it was Shen Changjun's brother, who had appeared in her room out of nowhere. At this moment, Shen Changjun felt a sudden wave of bitterness in her chest. Could this be the joy of seeing Kin again, after being reincarnated? But in the very next second, her brother stomped his foot right onto her head. This move left Shen Changjun completely dumbfounded. She immediately lunged at him, ready for a 300-round showdown. Unfortunately, with her tiny arms and legs, she was no match for her brother at all. At this point, she finally understood why she felt that bitterness. Meanwhile, Zhu Qianye thought to himself, "I see. That killing intent from earlier probably came from him. In his past life, he never saw eye to eye with this man. After he had killed his master, this man even came to stake his life against this honorable one. It seems he really cares about his little sister." At that moment, Shen Changjun looked at Zhu Qianye and said, "This disciple of yours is quite pleasing to the eye. Can you let me have him?" Hearing those words, Zhu Qianye panicked instantly. He had just shown killing intent toward his master. He had to find a way to cover it up, or else. So, Zhu Qianye activated his Oscar-worthy acting skills. He wailed and threw himself into his master's arms, crying out, "Master, you are the best master in the whole world. Yi does not want to be separated from master. Yi wants to be with master forever." As soon as the words left his mouth, Qianye grossed himself out, but to avoid blowing his cover, he could only endure saying such insincere things. The scene shifts to the other side, where the poor junior sister was still waiting for her master's love. Thus, he played the victim to gain his master's sympathy. Master could not bear to see her disciple in tears like that. She immediately pulled him into a hug and said, "Yi, whatever you want is fine." With those words, Qianye instantly pointed at Shen Changjun, showing his dislike. Then with teary eyes, he sobbed. Yi is so scared of this big brother. No sooner had he spoken than Shen Changjun was sent flying by Master. Seeing this, Qianye could not help but flash a smug smile. Shen Changjun, who knew you would have a day like this? But when he turned back around, he was met with quite a sight. In the next second, Qianye's face turned beet red. He hurriedly squeezed his eyes shut. At this point, Master thought Qianye had a fever, so she leaned in and pressed her forehead against his. Now, Qianye was so embarrassed, he felt like he was being roasted alive. Luckily, Master finally remembered that her junior sister was still waiting for her at Jinyan Peak. Crap, how could I forget about Ruru? She gave Qianye a quick instruction and prepared to go find her junior sister. But suddenly, Qianye grabbed her arm. Shen Changjun, I won't allow you to see Wai Shengru. Master was stunned. She actually thought Qianye was being jealous. So she pinched his cheek and said, "A boy should not be so possessive, you know." Then she turned into a streak of light and flew toward Jinyan Peak. Before leaving, she did not forget to remind him to wash the bedsheets. But at this moment, Qianye gave a wicked smirk and said, "Did you really think this honorable one had no other way to stop you?" The scene shifts back to the junior sister. After enduring a whole night of wind and rain, she finally saw her beloved master appearing before her. And at that moment, Master, seeing the junior sister's aggrieved face, hurriedly and tenderly pulled her into a hug. Then she handed over the Dharma treasure she had prepared all night and said, "The winner of the disciple recruitment fair gets to pick any master they want, and they can even make one special request. In my past life, little junior sister met Qianye at this very recruitment fair. The two of them were actually neck and neck in the competition. In the end, they were both ranked first. But in this life, with the buff from my magical treasures, little junior sister is definitely going to secure that top spot. As long as she asks me to be her master at the fair, then Ye won't be able to blame me for it later." But when the day of the competition finally arrived, Master was completely dumbstruck, because Qianye defeated little junior sister without even breaking a sweat. Immediately after, Qianye used his status as the winner to make a demand to his master. "In this life, you are only allowed to have me as your sole disciple." As soon as those words came out, our heroine was totally dazed. How did the plot go so sideways? Besides, my little disciple is getting way too clingy. What should I do? He even demanded that his master only ever accept him as a student. Hearing this, little junior sister felt incredibly wronged. Master could only rush forward to comfort her. "It is okay. Single quote, I will find you a much better teacher." She then brought little junior sister before the sect leader. But Shen Changjun said this little girl looked a bit dim-witted. If I take her in, would not I be getting the short end of the stick? However, in the next second, little junior sister took a big bite right out of his hand. Master was extremely satisfied with this move. Leaving behind a quick, "I am counting on you to look after Ruru," she turned and left the main peak. On the way back, Master said to Qianye dotingly, "Yay, are you satisfied now? From now on, I will be your master and yours alone." But this interaction sparked suspicion in the bystanders. They all felt that Qianye definitely had a master complex going on. These words made both master and disciple freeze like statues on the spot. "I am doomed, I am totally doomed. Why is the plot developing in the opposite direction? At this rate, I won't end up being the one who gets imprisoned, will I?" Thinking of this, Master could not help but sigh. Good grief, I have raised this kid the wrong way. But at this moment, Qianye was thinking, this woman actually dares to suspect that I like her. She would not try to get rid of me first, would she? No way, I must restore my strength as soon as possible. I need to finish her off quickly. Then, Qianye used his ultimate acting cute move again. He hoped his master would take him to the Yaoyue forest for training. To his surprise, his usually foolproof puppy eyes tactic failed this time. Left with no choice, Qianye had to resort to throwing a tantrum. "If you do not let me go, I am just not getting up." Sure enough, after this performance, Master finally gave in and agreed. But when the sect leader heard his sister was taking her disciple to the Yaoyue forest, he immediately voiced his opposition. He bluntly said, "Two noobs like you going down the mountain. Single quote, aren't you just making our Juha sect a laughingstock? But in the next second, his finger was bitten again by little Junior's sister. Even though Shen Changjun had a bit of a sharp tongue, before they left, he still gave his sister a bunch of magical treasures for protection. Meanwhile, Qianye had a wicked smirk on his face behind her, because no one knew the Yaoyue forest better than he did. Any random vortex in there could easily one-shot a golden core cultivator. However, just as Qianye was plotting how to make his move, Master suddenly stuffed that whole pile of magical treasures into his hands. At that moment, Qianye was completely bewildered. What is this stupid woman thinking? She actually gave all her protective gear to me. Then, clutching the bag of treasures with both hands, he asked, Shen Changjun, why did you take me as your disciple that day? Hearing this, Master did not answer directly. Instead, she patted Qianye's head and said dotingly, because I want to protect you. This sudden show of care made Qianye's face flush red uncontrollably. However, in the next second, an eerie vortex suddenly appeared right behind Master. Seeing this, Qianye hurriedly shouted a warning, watch out. But the vortex came far too fast. It was already too late to dodge. At this critical moment, using the last of her strength, Master pushed Qianye out of harm's way. At that very moment, Qianye was utterly dazed. Was she really the same master who once used any ruthless means just to possess him? Yet when danger struck, she did not hesitate to shove her young disciple to safety. Qianye was completely bewildered. Is she truly the same master who would stop at nothing to have her way with me? Some time passed, who knows how long. A man and a woman suddenly barged into the Yaoyue forest. They found Qianye lying on the ground, clinging to a final thread of life. To test their new concoction, they actually administered the Mei Yao Fusheng Yaimeng to Qianye. It was the most potent and toxic aphrodisiac under the heavens. It left Qianye without even the strength to crawl away. Fusheng Yaimeng. He never expected that in this lifetime he would cross paths with this curse again. Qianye tried to stumble away, but he collapsed and could not get back up. Just then, the two disciples from Yaozong approached him with lecherous grins. Just as Qianye was about to be drained dry by them, a crimson shadow suddenly flashed through the air. In the next second, Master shouted with pure rage, what do you think you are doing to my disciple? With a fierce swing of her divine weapon, the two Yaozong disciples were instantly struck down, severely wounded. Master then rushed to Qianye's side. Looking at her Ye, who was writhing in agony, Master could not help but shed tears of heartbreak. Without a second thought, she summoned her own golden core. Under the shocked gazes of the two Yaozong disciples, Master struck her sword directly into the golden core she had spent half her life cultivating. The intense, soul-crushing pain caused her to cough up a mouthful of crimson blood. It turns out there has never been an antidote for Fusheng Yaimeng since ancient times. Master could only use half of her cultivation to fundamentally reforged Qianye's physical body. Seeing the color slowly return to Ye's face. At that moment, Master finally let out a long-lost, relieved smile. The two Yaozong disciples tried to make a run for it, but were pinned down by a powerful formation, unable to move a muscle. In that instant, Master let all her suppressed fury explode. However, just as she was about to execute these scumbags with her own hands, a golden Buddha's staff suddenly blocked her flying sword. Then came a chant of Amitabha. To her surprise, it was Du Mingyue, the saintly monk of Chanzong, who intervened. Seeing this, the Yaozong disciples immediately played the victim, claiming they were the ones being attacked. Unaware of the truth, Du Mingyue tried to persuade Shen Changjun to show mercy. But how could Master ever let these two pieces of trash go? She raised the Hongqiujian and roared in anger. You old bald donkey, if you do not want to die, get out of my way. However, Du Mingyue maintained a righteous facade and said, Juhazong is the leader of the 5 great sects. Your Excellency should not tarnish your brother's reputation. But before he could finish his sentence, Master teleported right in front of his face. Caught off guard, Du Mingyue hurriedly raised his staff to parry the strike. With a thunderous boom, their first clash ended in a complete stalemate. But Master's golden core was already damaged. If the fight continued, it would surely end in a lose-lose situation. Looking at Ye, who was slowly regaining consciousness, Master knew she could not afford to be reckless, because if anything happened to her, no one would be left to protect Ye. Master snarled fiercely, you old monk. I will let you off the hook today. But come another day, I will definitely demand an explanation from both Yaozong and Chanzong. As soon as she finished speaking, Du Mingyue led the two scumbags away from the Yaoyue forest. Just then, Qianye grabbed a corner of Master's robe and questioned her. You clearly saw what they did to me. Why did you just let them walk away? The moment the words left his mouth, he suddenly realized something. Wasn't I poisoned by the Fusheng Yaimeng? Why do not I feel any of its effects now? Could it be that Master has already done That to me. At this moment Master steps forward and comforts him gently. Yi, wait a few more days, and I will seek justice for you. But in the next second, Qianye abruptly brushes her hand away. He leaves behind a cold disgusting, and runs deep into the Yaoyue forest without looking back. But before he can get very far, Master's warning voice echoes from behind him. It turns out, the Benming Dutang from Qianye's previous life has appeared. In the face of danger, Master once again shields him with her own body. However, at this moment, Qianye is thinking, if I can use this Nanon Dutang to kill her. But before his plan can be put into action, a tentacle suddenly appears behind him. It strikes toward Qianye at lightning speed. Sensing the danger, Master screams, watch out. The next second, under Qianye's shocked gaze, she flashes in front of him to block the strike. With a sickening squelch, that highly poisonous thorn pierces right through Master's body. Qianye's mind goes completely blank. Why, Shen Changjun, are not you a powerful Jindan stage cultivator? How did you suddenly become so weak? Just then, Qianye finally senses that half of a Jindan inside his own body. Why do I have Master's cultivation base inside me? Could it be because he originally lived this life just to kill that psychotic woman from his past, but now, to save her dying breath, Qianye uses a forbidden technique to transform back into Qianye Laozu, the severely injured Shen Changjun. In her daze, she seems to see the man before her is Qianye Laozu. Is this a hallucination? Looking at the unconscious Shen Changjun in his arms, Qianye feels a surge of fury from the depths of his heart. He flies up to face the Nanon Dutang that is still flailing its claws. Cradling Shen Changjun, he raises his left hand to channel his power. A massive surge of purple energy swirls around him. With a cold snort, he strikes the Nanon Dutang ruthlessly, instantly one-shotting it. Having dealt with the Nanon Dutang, Qianye gently descends to the ground with Shen Changjun. Seeing her covered in wounds, his heart aches with pain. Suddenly, a blob of purple venom shoots toward Shen Changjun. Qianye reaches out to block it. The Nanon Dutang, now shed of its outer shell, watches them from afar. After causing such a mess, it smiles wickedly and prepares to make a run for it. Seeing it try to escape, Qianye immediately uses his power to bind it. He then subdues and absorbs the reckless Nanon Dutang. Looking at Shen Changjun, who is deep in slumber and covered in blood, Qianye falls into deep thought. This transformation technique can only maintain his past body and power for a moment. It might take many years before he can use it again. No one is around. If he kills her now, no one would ever know. But then he recalls everything she has done in this life, giving him all her Dharma treasures for protection, saying she would always stay by his side, and the way she smiled that day when she took him as her disciple. In the end, he can't help but reach into his storage bag. He takes out a pill and feeds it to Shen Changjun. He tells himself that he only saves her because he has one more question to ask. Quick, save her. Seeing Shen Changjun risk her life for him, Qianye used the forbidden art to return to his old self and bring her back to Juhazong. Meanwhile, her overprotective brother, the sect master, and her little fangirl Weisheng Ru are absolutely furious to find out she was critically injured in the Yaoyue forest. They immediately head down the mountain overnight to level the forest to the ground. They even chopped down every single tree in Yaoyue forest and hauled them back to the sect. Watching this eye-popping operation, the disciples can't help but marvel. The #1 rule of survival in the cultivation world: never cross Changjun Zhenren. Her people are terrifying. At this time, inside Jinyan Peak of Juhazong, Shen Changjun lies on the bed, still unconscious. Beside her, Qianye is using his spiritual power to nourish her. Looking at the deathly pale Shen Changjun, who remains in a deep sleep, Qianye says, Shen Changjun, I told you I would not owe you anything. He then begins to circulate his technique. There is no antidote for the Nanon Dutang. The only way is to fight poison with poison. Using the vine as a needle, he begins to strike her acupoints one by one. Shenting point, Lianchuan point, Xuanji point, just as he is about to touch a certain delicate spot. For a moment, Qianye was flustered and overcome with shyness. He immediately pulled out a silk ribbon and blindfolded his own eyes. With a flushed face he thought, how could I, the great ancestor, act like a perverted woman like her? Keeping his eyes covered, he finished tapping the remaining pressure points. Finally, he channeled the purple chi toward her dantian. Upon reaching the dantian, he sensed something deeply wrong. The inner core inside her body was only half complete. The half core inside his own body really did belong to her. Why would she do this? Doesn't she know how much damage this would cause her? At that moment, the silk ribbon over his eyes slipped off. Seeing his hand still resting on Shen Changjun's body, he froze instantly. With his heart racing, he hurriedly withdrew his hand while pretending to be unfazed. By evening, after Qianye finished applying the medicine to Shen Changjun, he ran into Shen Changming, who had come to visit the patient. Seeing the person who had caused his sister's severe injuries, Shen Changming wished he could end him with a single finger. He said, "She should never have saved you. When she saved you, she did not give a damn about her own safety. If she never wakes up or even dies because of you, what will you do then?" Hearing that Shen Changjun might die because of him, Qianye felt a sharp pang in his heart. He gripped the medicine tray tightly. He thought about how her inner core was shattered, her body severely injured, and she was even poisoned. If he had not insisted on going to the Yaoyue forest back then, she would not have ended up in this state. The overprotective brother laid down the law, saying sternly, "I won't allow there to be a next time. You are not worthy." Having said his piece, he left in a fit of anger. Left alone in the courtyard, Qianye looked up at the quiet starry sky, pondering Shen Changming's words. He is right. After Qianye neutralized the poison for Shen Changjun, she still showed no signs of waking up. He had also received a harsh warning from her brother, Shen Changming. In the days that followed, he stayed by her side constantly. On the 10th day, he grumbled, "How are you still not awake?" A month later, resting his chin on his hand, he said, "She could not be." Right. 2 months later, he was carefully wiping her face. Watching the unresponsive Shen Changjun, he suppressed the anxiety in his heart, and said to her, "To think a wicked woman like you actually has people who truly love you. If you die, someone will actually be sad." One day, 3 months later, thunder and lightning filled the night sky. Qianye kept a constant vigil by Shen Changjun's bedside. Even the disciple who came to deliver food could not bear to watch any longer. All these days, Qianye had not eaten or slept, never leaving for a second. The disciple tried to comfort him, saying, "Eat a little at least. Don't worry, fortune favors the good. She definitely won't die." Hearing those words, Qianye suddenly looked up. He wondered, do I really look that worried about Shen Changjun? Since his reincarnation, he was becoming less and less like his old self. Why am I like this? Is it because I do not want to owe her, or is it something else? No, I just have one question I want to ask her. In this life, why do you treat me this way? That is all. In this life, why do you treat me this way? That is all. In this life, why do you treat me this way? That is all. In this life, why do you treat me this way? That is all. In this life, why do you treat me this way? That is all. Rumble, the thunder outside was continuous and deafening. Afraid of the lightning, Qianye finally could not help but climb onto the bed. Pressing close to Shen Changjun, he leaned against her and whispered, "Shen Changjun, you are not allowed to just die like this. You can only die by my hand." The next morning, sunlight shone upon Qianye's face. He opened his eyes groggily. He could faintly hear the voices of people discussing outside the door. "The coffin the sect leader ordered is ready. It will be moved here immediately." Hearing those words clearly, Qianye's eyes widened in shock. He flipped over and bolted upright. What a coffin! He immediately got out of bed. He hurriedly pushed open the door, anxious to confirm his worst fears. When he looked out, he only saw a beautiful silhouette with her back to him. Qianye stood there in a daze, staring at her. Shen Changjun, hearing the commotion, turned around with a beautiful smile and said to him, "Yaya, good morning." The morning light filtered through her hair as a gentle breeze brushed her cheeks. He felt his heart skip a beat. "I thought you were going to leave my life and my dreams forever. As it turns out, just seeing your radiant smile is enough to put my heart at ease." After 3 months of waiting, Shen Changjun had finally awakened. Seeing her smile again, Qianye was momentarily flustered. The two of them had finally met again. Seeing him awake, Shen Changjun walked toward him and spoke. "I have heard them all say that during these past few days, you have gone to great lengths to care for your master. In my heart, I am truly..." Before she could even finish her sentence, Qianye, who had not yet composed his feelings, hurriedly retreated. Like a shy little bride, he turned and bolted back into the house. He slammed the door shut behind him with a loud thud. Shen Changjun was left staring in utter bewilderment. What is up with this kid? Meanwhile, inside, Qianye leaned his back against the door. His heart was a mix of shock and joy, his face unable to hide his sheer happiness. She is finally awake. Clutching his uncontrollably racing heart, he thought to himself, why is my heart beating so fast? Could it be that seeing her safe and sound actually makes me this happy? Outside the door, Shen Changjun spoke to him. "I am truly glad to wake up and be able to see you again. I feel so fortunate to have taken you as my disciple." Listening to her reveal her heart so sincerely, Qianye knew his heartstrings had been well and truly plucked. Why is she saying these things to me now? If she had not said anything, I would not be feeling so wavered right now. He was so close to her, separated only by a single door. I am doomed. I can't let this continue. He gave a bitter, secret smile. Shen Changjun, if I do not SS you soon, I will never be able to S you in this lifetime. It turns out the coffins mentioned outside were ordered by the sect leader, crafted from premium wood from the Yaoyue forest. Meticulously made, these were the Your Mother's brand coffins, specially prepared for those two scumbags from the Yaozong, intended as a gift to the Yaozong to express his sincere regards. He then glanced at the coffin. Knowing exactly what was inside, he spoke wickedly toward the coffin. Oh my, it looks like a giant rat has crawled inside. Terrified, Wei Shengru, who was hiding in the coffin, jumped out with a start. She grabbed Shen Changming's leg and whined, "Where's the rat?" Then, sobbing, she begged him to take her to the Yaozong. She wanted to personally slay that scummy couple for Changjun Zhenren. Shen Changming grabbed Wei Shengru and complained, "You are just a little shrimp, but you sure have a lot of guts, do not you?" Wei Shengru immediately fired back. "I might be short, but my eyes are way bigger than yours." Shen Changming was momentarily rendered speechless, unable to rebut. Evening at the back mountain of Jinyanfeng. Shen Changjun brought Qianye to practice and said to him, "Although you have regained half of your cultivation and absorbed the Nanon poison vine, you have not truly integrated them. I will personally guide you until the day you master it all and your strength increases greatly." Meanwhile, the proud and stubborn little disciple thought, "Fine, very well. Just wait until that day comes. That will be the day you meet your end." Who knows who he is actually trying to convince? In any case, none of the spectators present believe him. Finally, the day of Shen Changjun's awakening arrived, but Qianye's grand plan for revenge began to waver upon seeing her again. From then on, Shen Changjun began instructing Qianye in martial arts. Just like that, from autumn to bitter winter, they remained together until every sunset, and Qianye's strength grew exponentially. Spring arrived, and all things were revitalized. On this day, Shen Changjun came to check on Qianye's progress. Watching Qianye cultivate so diligently, she felt a motherly sense of pride. With a beaming smile, she praised him. "That is it. Keep your focus just like that. You are only one step away from the final goal." However, before she could finish, she suddenly felt a sharp, agonizing pain inside. Clutching her chest, she coughed up a mouthful of blood. Seeing Shen Changjun suddenly spitting blood, Qianye was startled by this sudden turn of events. He rushed desperately toward the collapsing Shen Changjun. "Master." Holding the unconscious blood-stained Shen Changjun, his face was filled with agony. Qianye felt his own heart starting to throb with pain again. What is happening to her? Why did she suddenly cough blood and faint? Could it be a relapse of an old injury? As night fell, outside the main gates of Juhazong, a holy monk wearing a bamboo hat was caught in a dispute with the sect disciples. This man was Du Mingyue, the one who had previously rescued those two troublemakers from Yaozong. He asked the gatekeepers to announce his arrival to sect leader Shen. He had learned the truth about the events in the Yaoyue forest a year ago. He wanted to personally apologize to Changjun Zhenren. The disciple was honestly getting fed up with this stubborn ox of a monk. He would been telling him the same thing all day, but the man just would not listen. Changjun Zhenren had a relapse of her old injuries due to overworking. 6 months ago, she coughed up blood and fell into a coma. The sect leader then forced her into secluded cultivation to recover her spirit. Forget seeing Changjun Zhenren. Even the sect leader does not want to deal with him. Suddenly, Du Mingyue says, "Then I shall wait right here until Changjun Zhenren finishes her seclusion." Hearing this, the disciples were speechless. Fine, whatever floats his boat. No one wants to bother with him anyway, ever since she coughed up blood and passed out last time. Shen Changjun has been locked in a secret chamber for meditation by her brother, the sect leader. He insisted that she focus on her cultivation and get her body back in shape. Just then, a cracking sound comes from the wall. A poisonous vine tentacle drills its way in from the outside. "Master, the flowers on the back mountain of Jinyanfeng have bloomed." Looking at her beloved disciple, trying to cheer her up, regularly sending her news from within the sect, Shen Changjun felt a surge of warmth and joy in her heart. Meanwhile, Qianye, who was training in the woods near the secret chamber, looked toward the chamber and thought, "She must have received my message by now, right?" Suddenly, a bird flew down and landed on his hand. "Yi, train hard. I look forward to seeing you again soon. By then, you will surely have become even more formidable." Qianye smiled faintly as he looked at the messenger bird she had sent to him. "See you in 3 years, Yi." Shen Changjun entered seclusion, promising to meet Qianye again in 3 years. Who would have guessed that the moment she stepped out, she would stumble upon a handsome guy bathing? In the blink of an eye, 3 years passed. Accompanied by a mountain-shaking tremor, a massive golden light shot into the sky. This is the mountain peak where Shen Changjun has been practicing in seclusion. The masterpiece created by her brother Shen Changming and Wei Shengru is still stuck on the entrance. Is this seal for real? Are they serious? 3 years. The seal is finally broken, finally free. taking a deep breath of the long-lost fresh air. Shen Changjun is so excited that all she wants to do now is go on a massive food binge. Looking at the empty mountain pass, she scanned Jinyan Feng with her divine sense. To her surprise, not a single person came to greet her. Even her precious Yi Yi was nowhere to be found. Frowning slightly, she wondered, where did everyone go? Whoosh! Suddenly, she saw many cultivators flying overhead. Why are there so many people coming to Juha Zong? She immediately recalled the event that started everything in the original book, the Northern Barbarian Grand Ceremony. Counting the days, it really is almost time for that day. With this session's grand ceremony as the starting point, the male lead and prodigy of the cultivation world, Qianye, will meet Princess Han Xiaoxiao of the mortal Great Wang dynasty through a fight. From then on, Qianye will travel with her as companions, experiencing many dangerous trials together. If Weisheng Ru is the unreachable white moonlight in Qianye's heart, then this Han Xiaoxiao is the one who shares life and death experiences with him, his cinnabar mole. Thinking of this, Shen Changjun was instantly fired up. Since Weisheng Ru did not work out, does not he still have the cinnabar mole? Once she gets the two of them together for an adventure, she won't have to see him anymore and can finally live in peace. Suddenly, she remembered the way Yi Yi used to act all cute and clingy with her, and she started feeling reluctant to let her little Yi Yi go. She immediately shut down her own wavering attitude. When the bird grows up, you can't keep it anyway. Saving my own skin is more important. Poor Qianye. The road to winning his wife's heart is going to be long and arduous. After tidying herself up, Shen Changjun flew on her sword toward Juha Zong's Jinyan Feng. Seeing the empty house and no one on guard duty, she figured everyone must have gone to the main peak to prepare for the celebration. Then she flew toward the back of Jinyan Feng. This is Yi Yi's favorite spot, where he often practices in secret. As she was looking around, who is there? Suddenly, a man's deep magnetic voice rang out. Startled, Shen Changjun whipped her head around. She saw a handsome man sitting half-naked under the waterfall. Her eyes instantly lit up like stars. Oh my god. After 3 long years, I finally get some eye candy. Is this a welcome-back gift? Such a huge fan service right after leaving seclusion. Clutching her nose, her true fangirl nature was completely exposed. Hearing the commotion, the man immediately opened his sharp eyes. With a flick of his fingers, he appeared behind the star-struck woman. I can't help but wonder, did this guy grow up on growth hormones or what? Shen Changjun was still immersed in the sight of the handsome man's physique, and had not snapped out of it yet. The guy had teleported right behind her, and caught her red-handed. Turning around to see the tall man behind her, she blushed furiously. Wow, this man is way too handsome, but he looks strangely familiar. Shyly, she lowered her head and thought. Moonlight, waterfalls, a naked body, a hunk, and a chance encounter. All these cliched romantic elements coming together at once. The atmosphere is set perfectly. No way, no way. Could this hunk be my official love interest arranged by the plot? I am down for that. Transmigrating this time was totally worth it. Hee. Lost in her fantasies, she steps on a stone and slips. Her body uncontrollably falls backward. You have got to be kidding me. I am a golden core expert who can move mountains with a snap of my fingers. Yet I am tripped by a pebble. I have really lost my mind over a handsome face. The next second, Shen Changjun falls into a strong and powerful embrace. What a classic hero saves the beauty moment. At this moment, time seems to stand still. Only the sound of their breathing can be heard. Seeing herself lose her composure right upon meeting, she quickly says, I am looking for my kid. Handsome, have you seen him? He is just a little thing, soft, cute, and a bit of a crybaby. Suddenly snapping back to reality, she thinks, crap, what am I saying? Why did I tell him I have a kid the moment we met? Will he misunderstand and think I am already a mother? Whatever, if he truly loves me, he has to love my kid first. At worst, I will have a daughter with him later to be Yi Yi's little sister. That is not bad either. Handsome, I have even thought of the names for our future children. Then, she hears the man in front of her speak. Master, long time no see. Wait, what? After freezing for 10 seconds, she seems to hear the sound of something shattering instantly. What the heck? Is my newly budding romance being strangled in the cradle like this? She immediately gets up and sizes up the man before her. No matter how she looks at this height, she can't connect him to her little kid. He is actually a whole head taller than her. Suddenly, she remembers the man who was imprisoned by the original host in her past life. She examines the person in front of her more closely. Good heavens, how did I fail to recognize him just because he put some clothes on? Oh my god. I thought I finally had a spicy encounter with my handsome man of destiny. Has my little cutie actually grown up this fast? It has only been a few short years, boo-hoo-hoo. One second she was excited that the heavens did not lie, and gave her a top-tier hunk as a partner. The next second, this man actually opens his mouth and calls her master. Sobbing, Shen Changjun wants to collapse on the ground. How can my little cutie grow up so quickly? Someone save me, I can't accept this. Fine if the hunk is gone, but my little cutie is gone too. Looking at the woman wailing over there, Qianye is completely bewildered. I just grew up, it is not like I died. What is she crying for? Shen Changjun's inner drama queen takes over as she immerses herself in her fantasies again. She sighs, time really flies in the blink of an eye. The way he looked when he was just born is still vivid in my mind. To think that in a flash, he has already been weaned. Goodbye, my little cutie. Looking at this woman, whose thoughts are becoming more and more ridiculous, Qianye can't help but shout angrily. Stop it. That is all just your imagination. Hey, I was not even with you when I was little. Shen Changjun, who was busy mourning her loss, suddenly feels a warmth on her body. She stands up and turns her head, looking at Qianye in confusion. She only hears him say gently, you just came out of secluded meditation. Don't get too emotional, or your old illness might flare up. After saying that, he even tightens the coat on her. Hearing his words, Shen Changjun instantly feels extremely touched. The kid has grown up and knows how to be filial. I did not spoil him for nothing. She prepares to pat his head like she used to, but she simply cannot reach it no matter what. After trying on her tiptoes for a while, she finally gives up. The little brat has truly grown up. Qianye just stands there, staring straight at her, without making a sound to stop her. The discouraged Shen Changjun finally lowers her hand, looking at the well-built chest in front of her, revealing 8-pack abs. Her little hand can't help but reach out to touch them. She immediately realizes her perverted behavior, coughs dryly twice, and hurriedly pulls his clothes tight. Qianye looks at her inexplicable actions in surprise. He blurts out, I am not cold. Shen Changjun pats his shoulder and says, staying chaste is the best dowry a man can offer. You are still young. It is not your turn for these kinds of plotlines yet. Thinking to herself, you would better be careful. You have not even met your future cinnabar mole yet. While the two of them were chatting, she suddenly heard someone calling her name and turned around to look. It turned out that her brother, Shen Changming and Weisheng Ru, had come to see her. Weisheng Ru waved at her happily. Seeing who it was, Shen Changjun turned around joyfully and called out, Ruru, you guys are here. Then Weisheng Ru lunged forward into Shen Changjun's arms. I missed you so much. This man, who had intended to assassinate Shen Changjun countless times, was now standing at the entrance of the library, deciding to make one last move. However, what on earth is going on here? Qianye stood before the library, which Shen Changjun had locked up tight with chains. He found himself a reasonable excuse. Up until now, he had not made his move, only because the her of this life is worlds apart from her past life. But he could never be certain if she was just faking it. Now, it is time to put her to the test. With that said, he channeled his energy to drop the chains. Next, I shall use the exact same method you used on me in the previous life. Let us see how you choose. Then, with a serious expression, he pushed open the grand doors. Standing before Shen Changjun's collection of various books, he planned to find some ways to test her. He would give her a taste of her own medicine. He then randomly pulled out a scroll and began to study it intently. At just one glance, his face flushed and his ears turned bright red. Oh my goodness, what in the world is all this? So embarrassed by the content, he just wanted to find a block of tofu to bash his head against. After a long while, he finally closed the scroll. It was truly too scandalous to look at, yet he endured the agony and carefully flipped through dozens more scrolls. Each one was more daring and explicit than the last. Stunned in place, he only felt his whole body heating up, thinking to himself, is not this sacrifice of mine a bit too great? Slap! He dropped the scroll in his hand as if fleeing and turned to leave. With a face full of solemn determination, as if facing a heroic death, he said, forget it. No more studying. I will just go for it directly. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. One can't help but say, you really know how to choose a way to kill someone. And who knows if you have actually wanted to do this for a long time. Nightfall descended upon Jinyan Hall on Jinyan Peak. Shen Changjun, having just returned from a busy day, prepared to go to her bedroom to rest. Pushing open the door and stretching, she said, oh boy, I have not had a good rest in 3 years. I missed my bed so much. Suddenly sensing something was off, she looked toward her bed. She saw Qianye lazily propping up his chin, feigning sleep. His robes were provocatively loose, as he lay in her bedding. Seeing that she had finally returned, Qianye slowly opened his eyes and spoke nonsense to her with a straight face. Master, I want to sleep with you tonight. Looking at him like this, Shen Changjun thought speechlessly. You have your own room but won't sleep there. You just have to steal my bed. I just got back, and now I can't even sleep in my own bed. She immediately took out a clean blanket from the cupboard. Spreading it on the floor, she yawned and said, all right then, you should sleep early too. Good night. Looking at this woman who remained completely unmoved despite his seduction, Qianye felt a wave of speechlessness. He immediately stepped forward dominantly and grabbed her wrist. He pulled her forcefully toward himself. In the next second, before Shen Changjun could react, she fell steadily into Qianye's embrace. While Qianye held her slender waist with one arm, he gripped her wrist with the other. Leaning close to her ear, he said in an incredibly sexy voice, "Master," I said, "let us sleep together." Shen Changjun was startled by his sudden move. Looking at him, she suddenly ruined the mood with a question. "You did not wet the bed, did you?" Qianye was hit by a wave of shame and anger at this dense woman's words. "How many times do I have to say it? I have never wet the bed." "You are remembering it wrong." Then Shen Changjun lay down contentedly on her beloved bed and said goodnight to him. Seeing this thick-skulled woman already snoring away, Qianye looked at her with a face full of indignation. He suddenly flipped over and pinned her to the bed. He did not believe she could remain indifferent when he was practically serving himself up to her. At this distance, he could even feel her breath. Leaning against her face, he whispered, "Master, is there really nothing else you want to do?" Who would have thought that in the next second, this woman would actually start snoring sweetly? Qianye looked at her in total disbelief. She actually fell asleep just like that. He gazed fixedly at her beautiful sleeping face, lost in thought. Suddenly, his eyes caught a certain sensitive spot. His ears turned beet red in an instant. He immediately flipped over to the other side, thinking shyly, "In the end, who exactly is seducing whom here?" He pouted, thinking to himself, "Wait, she is actually completely unfazed. Is it possible that I, this ancestor, am being too conservative? Looks like tomorrow I will have to take some bolder measures. Good heavens, what on earth am I even doing?" Meanwhile, Shen Changjun had long since gone to play chess with the god of dreams, but poor Qianye was still agonizing over what bolder method to use next time. But poor Qianye was still agonizing over what bolder method to use next time. But poor Qianye was still agonizing over what bolder method to use next time. But poor Qianye was still agonizing over what bolder method to use next time. At such a critical moment, she is probably the only one who could stay asleep after being pinned by a hottie. Leaving Qianye speechless and staring at the ceiling, resisting the urge to slap her awake. With his plan failed, he just slept like that until the next day. The warm morning sunlight spilled over the two sleeping figures. Qianye slowly drifted awake. Looking at Shen Changjun sleeping tightly against him, he was suddenly jolted awake. His consciousness gradually returned to his body. He completely failed to notice that his hand was still draped over her shoulder. Staring at her face, which was just inches away, he thought, "Is this woman really trying to make a move on me while I am asleep?" Suddenly, he sensed something was off. He looked behind himself. Holy moly, why is there such a huge empty space behind me? He had almost pushed her right off the bed, and her head was actually resting on his arm. Wait, the one who crossed the line was me. Young man, you have finally seen the truth. He immediately straightened his expression, thinking he had to find a way to escape quickly. He turned around, wanting to return to his side of the bed. Unfortunately, Shen Changjun was still sleeping on his arm, leaving him unable to move. Sensing the pillow beneath her head shifting around, Shen Changjun began to grumble discontentedly. The next second, she flipped over and pulled the giant body pillow beside her into a full embrace. She felt completely satisfied and whole. This sudden move left Qianye utterly stunned, not knowing what to do. Suddenly, his chest felt the warmth of her breath. He could feel her soft touch against his body. Qianye could not help but gulp. Oh my god. His entire face was so hot you could probably fry an egg on it. Blushing, he thought resignedly, "It is not that I do not want to move, it is that this baby literally can't move." He reached out and lightly tickled the back of Shen Changjun's neck, attempting to make her flip over to the other side on her own. Shen Changjun, feeling the itch behind her neck, subconsciously thought it was an annoying mosquito disturbing her sweet dreams. Slap! She waved her hand to swat away the mosquito hand. Then with one kick, she sent the giant mosquito flying straight out. Next thing you know, Qianye's butt made a very intimate contact with the floor. The movement was smooth and decisive, with zero hesitation. She casually pulled the blanket back over herself. Having dealt with the pesky mosquito, Shen Changjun went back to snoring peacefully. Beside her, Qianye, after that sequence of events, was so angry his teeth were about to shatter from clenching. Alas, the blatant gap in their power levels was staring him right in the face. He thought indignantly, "Shen Changjun, you just wait and see." With his plan failed again, Qianye pondered for a long time. He arrived once more before the doors of Shen Changjun's artifact pavilion. He wanted to see if she had any equipment here that he could use. Looking at the room, filled with various props, Qianye froze in place, unable to take another step. Covering his face, he thought even if it was to cater to her special tastes from her past life. I, this ancestor, still can't bring myself to do it. I just can't lose face like that. If all else fails, I will just have to use illusion arts to control her dreams. While Qianye was immersed in his internal conflict, he suddenly sensed someone approaching. Who is there? he turned and shouted angrily at the newcomer. It turned out the person at the door was actually the little junior sister, Ru. At that moment, Qianye felt like he would been struck by a bolt from the blue. Somebody please tell me this is not happening. The whole room, including the walls beside them, was covered in various props and equipment. It was the ultimate public execution. The two of them stood there in an awkward, frozen standoff. Are these? Ru had just opened her mouth to ask. Qianye did not give her a single chance to speak. He immediately turned and bolted out the door. Ru, who had not processed it yet, only felt a gust of wind blow past. It was actually quite refreshing. Qianye covered his face and ran away crying from this place of heartbreak. He even had to resort to using the Nanon poison vine. Sob sob, from now on I do not know anyone. My glorious reputation across 2 lifetimes is officially down the drain, leaving a bewildered Ru behind. What on earth is senior brother doing? She then turns around and looks inside the room, staring in confusion at the piles of props. What are all these? She walks up to a collection of colorful bottles and jars, her eyes lighting up with excitement. Even though I have no clue what they are, they look super legit. Are these some kind of rare magical treasures? I wonder if I can use them to deal with that mean master of mine. She then thoughtfully leaves a note for her ice block senior brother in a conspicuous spot on the box. It says she is borrowing them to take down the big bad master. Mission start. Picking up a bunch of potions with unknown effects, she hums a little tune and leaves in high spirits. She even remembers to carefully close the gates of the Qianye. Who would have thought these two could be equally clueless? She is really putting her all into digging her own grave. Meanwhile, at Jinyan Dian on Jinyan Feng, Shen Changjun is still lost in a sweet dream, literally drooling. Beside her, Qianye watches the fast asleep Shen Changjun. He slowly summons the Nanon Dutang. The Nanon poison is the most lethal of all toxins, but if used in tiny doses, it only causes paralysis. Her cultivation is stronger than mine, but right now she is completely defenseless. Once she is paralyzed, I can cast any illusion I want on her. Then I can finally pry into her true inner thoughts. He slowly lets the Nanon Dutang coil over her body. Shen Changjun, if in the depths of your dreams you still harbor malice toward me like in our past life, I will make sure you sleep like this forever. But if you truly care for me the way you seem to in this life, then our past grudges will be settled, and I will let everything go. Shen Changjun, let me see what is really inside your heart in this lifetime. To discover Shen Changjun's true feelings, Qianye uses the Nanon Dutang to induce a hallucination. Gurgle gurgle. In her sleep, Shen Changjun feels her body slowly sinking. Subconsciously opening her eyes, she wonders, where am I? Through the haze, she seems to see the terrifying Qianye Laozu. She hears him speak slowly. I trusted you more than anyone, yet you did this to me. You imprisoned me here. What exactly do you want to do to me? Staring at him in a daze for a long while, Shen Changjun thinks, what is the deal now? Why is he in my dream? Feeling something in her hand, she looks down. Holy moly, why is the Mei Yao Fusheng Yaimeng in my hand? She immediately feels like her whole world is about to crumble. No way, for real. Wasn't the plot just getting started? How did I end up back at square one? Did I offend the audience so much that I am being scripted to die already? Am I about to get killed by the Nanon Dutang again, just to reboot the story? Oh my god, is this ever going to end? She then proceeds to slam the bottle against her own head in frustration. Collapsing to the ground in a breakdown, she screams, feeling utterly exhausted. This dream has to be fake. Someone please slap me awake. I have seriously had enough of this scummy master role. She picks up the Hongqiujian, wanting to end this ridiculous life right now. The sword spirit is terrified and rushes to stop this crumbling woman. The sword spirit tries to prevent her body from acting on its own. She breaks down in tears and tries to flee from this maddening scene. Watching the woman run to the door, screaming to be let out, he watches as she runs to the door, yelling for it to open so she can escape. Qianye, wanting to see if she is just putting on an act, continues to test her from the sidelines, speaking seductively. Where are you running to? Looking at me, do you really not want to do anything? Upon hearing this, Shen Changjun turns her head to look at him. Hearing those words, Shen Changjun turns to face him. Seeing the deep sorrow on her face, Qianye is secretly shocked. Why do I feel such a tinge of sadness in her dream? Shouldn't she be happy? Wait. Did her brain get fried by poison back in the Yaoyue Senlin? Shen Changjun finally realizes that this man is not her beloved disciple. She immediately starts crying dejectedly. You are not my cute little Ye. You are the protagonist, Qianye. If the plot repeats, I will never see my Ye again. I put so much heart into raising him, just so he would take care of me. The back rubs, the leg massages, the tea service, it is all going to be gone. Sobbing sounds. Qianye only catches the first half and automatically filters out the rest. Instantly, he feels his heart skip a beat. He immediately breaks free from the chains. He slowly stands up. The shackles that had bound him across 2 lifetimes cease to exist in this very moment. Amidst the gradually dissipating chains, he walks toward the heartbroken and weeping Shen Changjun. He pulls her into an embrace and comforts her. Don't cry anymore. The dream will end soon. I won't let you be sad ever again. Seeing Shen Changjun still crying her eyes out, Qianye, filled with tenderness, holds her tightly and gently soothes her. He muttered to himself, from now on, we owe each other nothing. Perhaps love makes it this easy for someone to gaslight themselves. Night at the main peak of Juha sect. After dealing with the 4 major sects, each harboring their own schemes, Shen Changming prepared to return to his palace to rest. Hey! These people actually had the audacity to try and dump that hot potato, the fire spirit divine artifact, onto the Juha sect. Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of a light inside his room. Someone actually dared to break into his hall. With a wicked smirk, he pushed the door open forcefully. I would like to see who has the guts to try and play God here. Immediately, he saw his adorable and dorky little disciple. She was holding a bunch of messy props and equipment, deep in study. She even frankly admitted she planned to use them to ambush him, yet did not know how to work them. Shen Changming was so shocked he was left speechless. Wai Shengru tossed the rope in her hand directly at him. Unprepared, Shen Changming was caught and tied up tightly. She even asked, is this how you use it? Bound up, Shen Changming said awkwardly in number. That is not it. Then he heard something that made him want to cough up blood. Then, could master teach me how? You do not lack skill, you are practically a pro at this. What to do when you are tied up by your own silly little bunny? What else could he do? Shen Changming got ruthless and directly blew up his own palace. At this moment he was so angry, he could only laugh. Hey, my palace has been defiled by those things. I do not want it anymore. Beside him, Wai Shengru was stunned by his actions, feeling deeply for the sacrificed hall. Sob sob. She had not even taken out the strange magical artifacts she borrowed. Now, what is she going to give back to the owner? Then, Shen Changming grabbed her by the collar. With a kindly expression, he said to the little bunny in his hand, Heh heh, do you want master to help you rescue them? Please do not be a stranger with master. And in the future, stay far away from Jinyan Peak and that brat Ju Qianye. Terrified, Wai Shengru nodded frantically, fearing her little life would end the next second. The next day, at Jinyan Peak, Shen Changjun was still in bed. She snapped her eyes open. She sat up abruptly, thinking that dream last night felt way too real. Was that really just a dream? Suddenly, she smelled the aroma of food. She looked up and saw him in her bedroom. Seeing her wake up, Ju Qianye virtuously set down the dishes in his hand and said, although most cultivators practice inadia, I know you are a foodie, so I specially made some of these for you myself. Looking at Ju Qianye being so thoughtful towards her, Shen Changjun hurriedly ran towards him. She stepped forward and hugged him tightly. He was still her familiar Ye. She really thought she was going to lose him. Thank goodness it was only a dream. He gently stroked the frightened woman in his arms. He asked dotingly, did you have a nightmare? Don't be afraid. Immediately, Shen Changjun sat down in relief and began to feast. She praised her boy for growing up and knowing how to be filial to his master. Your cooking is amazing though. Master actually prefers sweet tofu pudding more. Hee hee. Having had her fill, she leaned back against Ju Qianye with a face full of satisfaction. With good food and a thoughtful boy, life is so blissful. Tomorrow is the Northern Barbarian Grand Ceremony. You will attend with master. With us master and disciple joined together, why should we fear those idiots? In her heart, she was calculating that this was the perfect time to play matchmaker for him. Then she started to feel sad again. She had not slept in a bed for 3 years. She finally slept last night, but now her waist was aching. Ju Qianye wanted to massage her waist, but felt it might be inappropriate. To hide his inner embarrassment, he coughed lightly and said he would go pour some tea for her. Shen Changjun looked at the teapot right next to her hand in confusion. Isn't it right here? Full and satisfied, she lay back on her bed, thinking her boy really had changed. He can cook and serve tea. He is so filial to his master. As expected, dreams are always the opposite of reality. But those scenes in her dream felt so real. The plot is getting more and more twisted. What if it actually comes true? It seems she needs to set him up with someone as soon as possible. Let him leave the plot and get back on the right track. That should be the result she wants, right? When night fell, Ju Qianye came to Shen Changjun's bedside. At this time, she was fast asleep. He slowly pulled a note from his sleeve. He had already made up his mind to bid her farewell. He gently placed the note under her pillow. Since the grievances between them had been settled, there was no longer any reason to stay by her side. Having returned to life, there was still an important matter he needed to do. Suppressing the hesitation in his heart, he seemed to be telling himself, Shen Changjun, we are now even. We owe each other nothing. May we never meet again in this lifetime. Farewell forever. Shen Changjun sensed something. Suddenly, her eyes snapped open. She stared directly at Ju Qianye, who was right in front of her. Their eyes locked. Easy. He had originally planned to leave her a farewell note while Shen Changjun was fast asleep. Who would have thought she would suddenly wake up? He looked at her in stunned silence, unable to react. Shen Changjun spoke up to ask, "Are you planning to sleep with me tonight too?" Qianye quickly sat up and said, "Number. You used to be the one coaxing me to sleep. Let me be the one to watch over you tonight." Shen Changjun let out a yawn. "Then I will go back to sleep. Remember to wake me up tomorrow. I still want to eat those pastries you make for me. I have to go help Shen Changming keep things under control. None of those 4 major sects are up to any good." Qianye gently patted her. "All right, it is late. Go to sleep." Shen Changjun slowly closed her eyes. "Good night, Yi. See you tomorrow." Seeing her fall asleep, Qianye got up and left. He sped off into the distance, under the cover of night. Under the night sky, he soared toward the horizon. He galloped away into the dark night. In the middle of the night, he flew far away. Looking back at the sleeping Shen Changjun, he murmured, "Good night, master." Soon after, Qianye arrived at the Wuwang Sea. This is where the cultivation world and the mortal realm converge. This place serves as the intersection of the immortal and mortal worlds. Standing on the cliff, watching the cultivators passing by, he thought to himself. He stood at the edge of the precipice, observing the coming and going of cultivators. In his past life, shortly after he had killed Shen Changjun, the world was suddenly struck by a great catastrophe. The 5 elemental divine artifacts were stolen by a mysterious figure. The world's spiritual energy was abruptly exhausted. To save all living beings, he had forced his own ascension. He had risked everything to ascend just to save the world. But because of his inner demons, he failed the tribulation. His past regrets caused him to fail the heavenly tribulation. In this life, I must prevent the 5 elemental divine artifacts from being stolen again. After scanning with his divine sense, he found the destination he was looking for, the Luo River in the mortal world. He headed toward the mortal Luo River. Since the water spirit divine artifact has the power to peer into the truth, it was the very first one to be stolen. As Qianye was about to set off, just as Qianye prepared to move, as he was about to leave, he suddenly overheard 2 cultivators discussing a sudden disaster at the Biwang Great Ceremony. He heard that the fire spirit divine artifact had been stolen. Rumor said the fire spirit divine artifact was gone. Word was spreading that the fire spirit divine artifact was snatched, and the Juha Zong had been razed to the ground. The Juha sect was completely leveled. The entire Juha sect was reduced to rubble. Qianye's heart skipped a beat. Without waiting to hear the rest, he immediately channeled purple chi into his feet. Using his maximum speed, he rushed desperately toward the Juha sect. With a murderous look on his face, he thought, "Master, you absolutely must be safe." By the time he finally reached the Juha sect, the sect's plaque that once hung proudly at the gate was already shattered. He looked at the familiar Juha sect in utter shock. The once majestic palaces had been turned into a wasteland of ruins. He looked around. Not a single inch of the ground remained intact. His fellow disciples were all lying there, heavily injured. Qianye stood frozen in place. Qianye was stunned by the sight. Why was the artifact stolen so much earlier than in his past life? Where exactly did things go wrong? He was reborn, yet the same tragedies were happening again. In the end, he still could not prevent history from repeating itself. While Qianye was drowning in self-blame, a familiar voice suddenly called out, "Easy." Startled, Qianye snapped out of it. He turned around to look behind him. It was her. She was still safe and sound. Shen Changjun stepped forward and grabbed him. She looked him up and down, asking anxiously, "What happened? Are you hurt?" "I was just woken up by a loud explosion, so I rushed over to the main peak." "Why did not you wake me up this morning? It is still quite different from my past life." He stepped forward and held Shen Changjun tightly. "In my past life, I was the only one who cared for the world. But now, she is here to care for me. In this life, she is still alive and right by my side." He soothed her gently. "Master, your disciple is fine. I am sorry for making you worry. Did you see the letter when you woke up?" Shen Changjun leaned her head on his shoulder. "I did not notice any letter." "Where did you go so early? Why did not you wake me?" Seeing that she had not found the letter, he left. Qianye told her he had planned to cross the Wuwang Sea. He went to the mortal realm to buy her favorite sweet tofu pudding for breakfast. But in his heart, he made a silent vow. The events of the past life should be completely let go. "From now on, I will never run away from your side again." Shen Changjun smiled and said, "So that is how it was." In her mind, she recalled the scene from last night. Right after he left, she stopped pretending to be asleep. She took out the note he had left under the pillow. She watched Qianye's departing figure through the window. "Perhaps leaving like this is better for both of us. I thought I would never see you again. Yet you suddenly appeared before my eyes again. I do not know why you left so abruptly. I have a faint feeling you are hiding something deep in your heart. But if you do not mention it, I won't ask. When you left, I was not as heartbroken as I imagined I would be. But seeing you again makes me 10 million times happier than I expected. I suddenly realized the past life is over. I should not keep pushing you away out of fear. Now, you are no longer the man who killed me in my past life. You are my disciple, Yi. Yi. Do not go out to buy sweet tofu pudding for me anymore, she said with a blooming smile. I have suddenly lost my taste for sweets. Qianye looked at her with a face full of doting affection. All right, I won't go anymore. The two finally resolved the knots in their hearts. They stood before the main hall's ruins on the primary peak. After some inquiries, they found out what happened. A group of mysterious people appeared at the grand ceremony. Right before the 5 sect leaders, they snatched the fire spirit artifact. They vanished instantly without a trace. The scarred peak before them was actually blown up by the sect leader himself. It seems the Northern Wilderness grand ceremony will have to be postponed. Just as the two were discussing the details, Immortal Changjun, a group of monks led by Du Mingyue, approached them. Seeing them, Qianye was annoyed and told them to get lost immediately. Shen Changjun thought Du Mingyue came to apologize for what he did to Yi. She tried to calm Qianye, who was fuming at the sight of the monk. Who knew these monks would start barking nonsense at her? A young monk said the holy monk was sent by the 4 major sects to demand an explanation. They even blamed the theft of the artifact on the Juha sect. They demanded that Shen Changming be handed over. Looking at this group of unreasonable bald donkeys, Shen Changjun stepped forward to shield Qianye. She asked Du Mingyue if this was also his intention. He demanded that Shen Changjun hand over Shen Changming. He wanted him to go to the Zen sect to discuss recovering the artifact with the other sects. Qianye, standing aside, let out a cold snort. The holy monk is quite the bold talker. This is not a discussion. It is an interrogation, is not it? The mysterious theft of the artifact is a grave matter for all living beings. You want to use this excuse to crusade against the Juha sect, and you call yourselves righteous sects. How utterly pathetic. Shen Changming is the leader of a sect. He cannot simply go with you. I will go in his stead. Seeing Shen Changjun standing so firmly in front of him, Qianye's heart was deeply moved, but having just regained her, he could not let her take risks again. He gently pulled her behind him and spoke. No need to argue. I will go to the mortal Luo River to bring back the water spirit artifact, to compensate for the loss of the fire spirit artifact from the Juha sect. We can also use the scrying power of the water spirit artifact to find the thief. Seeing Qianye shielding her, Shen Changjun worried for his safety. She insisted on finding the water spirit artifact herself, so the ceremony could proceed as planned. Otherwise, she would leave herself at the mercy of the 4 sects. Watching the two of them try to take the blame for each other, Du Mingyue pursed his lips in silence. He immediately turned around and left. Very well, it is a deal then. Seeing the holy monk depart just like that, the surrounding monks still felt indignant. Du Mingyue turned back, intending to say something more to the two of them, but seeing their faces full of wariness, and the obvious stay-away vibe in their eyes, he could only sigh softly and give up, leaving the scene. Qianye looked at her standing in front of him, acting like a protective hen guarding her chick. His heart was filled with helplessness. He reached out and turned her to face him, and said to her, Master, I have already grown up. From now on, when encountering such matters, I can hold my own ground. I will no longer be a burden to you. Shen Changjun reached out and said with a smile, but in my eyes, you will always be that little kid. She habitually tried to pat his head, just like before, only to forget the awkward height difference between them now. Then, she started to feel a bit dejected. My baby has really grown up. Now that he can handle things alone, he won't need me anymore. And his height has shot up like he's on steroids these past few years. She said to him, all right, if you want to go to the mortal world with me, then let us go together. Looking at the disappointed Shen Changjun walking ahead, Qianye felt a pang of pity and called out to her softly. Shen Changjun turned around to look at Qianye. She saw him half squatting, saying gently, come. He smiled at her and said, is this height okay now? Shen Changjun was deeply moved by his gesture. With a radiant smile, she gently patted his head. Yes, you are indeed my good little boy. Have you mastered this flirting skill yet? She is Han Xiaoxiao, the princess of the greatest mortal dynasty. She heard that cultivation sects were coming to Luo, in the mortal world, to find the water spirit divine artifact. They are currently gathering at the Wu Wang Sea, the intersection between the cultivation world and the mortal realm. The attendants behind her said respectfully, the fire spirit divine artifact was stolen. The 5 major sects promised to give an explanation in 3 months. We should escort your highness back to the imperial capital first. The princess expressed that she did not trust those aloof immortals at all. She wanted to go to Luo He to investigate for herself. The master and disciple duo also arrived in the mortal world. At night, the streets were still bustling, decorated with lanterns and streamers. Shen Changjun looked at the extraordinary and lively street scene with excitement. She was looking around curiously. Qianye looked at her dotingly as she peered everywhere and said, "Our clothes are completely different from mortal attire. Since we are here to find the water spirit divine artifact, it is better to be cautious and keep a low profile. To avoid drawing attention, why do not we go to a tailor shop and buy some mortal clothes?" When Shen Changjun heard they could go shopping, her eyes immediately lit up and she replied, "Great, sounds like a plan. We have been flying on swords over the Wuwang Sea for days anyway. It is about time we relax a bit." Meanwhile, the exhausted Honkyu sword had already fainted from crying. It muttered about being worked to death. Looking at the dazzling array of silks and ornaments in the shop, it was simply a shopping paradise. She could not help but sigh that this must be what the celestial realm looks like after ascension. Seeing a perfect couple entering the shop, the shopkeeper immediately came forward to welcome them. With a beaming smile, he said, "As the saying goes, better to be a pair of lovebirds than an immortal. You and your husband are such a talented and beautiful match. You are enough to make everyone jealous. Why bother with seeking immortality and ascension?" Seeing the shopkeeper's misunderstanding, she immediately waved her hands. She tried to explain that they were not husband and wife, but then she thought, if she said they were master and disciple, would not people guess they were from the cultivation world? So she said to the shopkeeper, "We are mother and son." In an instant, the 2 people beside her were completely stunned. Looking at her explanation that even a ghost would not believe, Qianye put his hand on her shoulder, pulled her into his arms and said, "My younger sister loves to joke around. Please do not misunderstand. We 2 are siblings." He looked down at Shen Changjun in his arms and thought to himself, "In my past life, I had hundreds of years of cultivation when I died. Now, Master is only in her 20s, she is still young. Wait a minute. Come to think of it, would not I be more than qualified to be her ancestor?" Shen Changjun stares at Qianye's devastatingly handsome face, thinking like a total fangirl, "Oh my god, here I go." Getting closer, she sees her disciple is truly a snack, as expected of my precious boy. The shopkeeper, stunned by the awkwardness, wipes his sweat and laughs. "Haha, just as I thought. This young lady has quite the sense of humor." Suddenly, he feels a soft sensation on his hand. Blushing, Qianye immediately hides his hand behind his back. Cough cough, go ahead and pick out some clothes you like. Let us get out of these robes quickly. A moment later, Qianye finished changing. He pulls back the curtain and steps out, a young master beyond compare, elegant and refined. Even in mortal clothes, his striking handsome features cannot be hidden. Qianye steps out from behind the curtain in his new mortal attire, causing the female customers in the shop to scream incessantly. "Oh wow, he is way too handsome." The shopkeeper teases him. "Since the moment you stepped through those doors, female customers have been coming in, but none have left. In less than an hour, our foot traffic has tripled." But Qianye turns a deaf ear to his words. Hiding the anticipation in his eyes, he asks, "Is my sister not finished changing yet?" The shopkeeper looks behind him. "Look, here she comes." With just one glance after turning around, he was instantly mesmerized. A beauty like fine jade, descending upon the mortal world. Looking at her world-stopping beauty, Qianye feels like a small rabbit is trapped in his chest, thumping away without stopping. The shopkeeper can't help but praise, "What a beautiful woman she is." The 2 of them look like a match made in heaven in those outfits. Hearing that, Qianye pulls the shopkeeper aside. "The clothes you chose for the 2 of us, they do not exactly look like what a brother and sister should wear." The shopkeeper exposes the truth with one sentence. "You 2 are not biological siblings, are you? The way you looked at her just now was not like looking at a sister, but like you were looking at your woman." "Shopkeeper, you are the real MVP." Seeing the boss saw right through him, Qianye stammers, She is naturally a woman. It is true, we are not blood related." Shen Changjun steps forward to interrupt their conversation. She comes before him and says with a grin, "Easy, do I look good in this?" Looking at Shen Changjun, who suddenly appeared before his eyes, Qianye does not know how to react for a moment. Suddenly, snapping back to reality, his face turns red with embarrassment. "It is all right, I guess." Then Shen Changjun gives him a big smile and praises him. "I think you look very handsome in those clothes, Yi." In an instant, the young man's heart was conquered. He asks subconsciously again, "Really?" Of course, but maybe it is just because you are naturally handsome. Seeing her circle around him while saying such embarrassing things, Qianye shyly turns his face away, feeling bashful. He then turns his whole body around. Fine, let us go quickly. The boss watches the two of them leave from the doorway. Mission accomplished, moving on like a boss. Qianye felt that if they did not leave right now, his heart might just give out entirely. His heart is about to flatline from the excitement. He immediately quickens his pace. Trying to walk off the nervousness, he speeds up. Shen Changjun thinks since he is my boy, of course he is handsome, it is a given. Looking at the hurrying Qianye, she says, "Wait for me." After being dressed in couples' outfits by the shopkeeper, the two of them began to stroll leisurely through the market, looking at the various shops, large and small. Curious baby Shen Changjun was having the time of her life. Suddenly, a small stall caught her eye. She instinctively grabbed Qianye, who was standing beside her. She pulled him along, briskly walking toward the stall. At that moment, the candy stall was surrounded by children. With a face full of wonder, Shen Changjun said to him, "Yi, look, it is sugar painting. Isn't it so interesting?" Hearing this, Qianye replied bluntly, "Master, your disciple is no longer a child. This kind of childish and flashy stuff, I have no interest in it." Before he could finish, he saw Shen Changjun looking all pouted and aggrieved. Realizing something was off, he asked her, "Wait, is it actually you who wants it?" A certain aggrieved woman, acting like she was being cornered, stubbornly said, "No, I do not want it. Not even a little bit." Just then, a loud shout drew her attention. "Prayers at the sacred tree, 3 coins per pair." Looking up, she saw a beautiful, towering ancient tree. It was covered with prayer plaques. Fluttering in the wind, it was truly a sight to behold. The sharp-eyed stall owner saw the handsome man and beautiful woman approaching. "This is a 1,000-year-old sacred tree. It is very effective, especially for marriage and destiny." Seeing the misunderstanding, Shen Changjun hurried to explain they were siblings. "Then the young lady can pray to find a fine husband in the future, to live a long life together until your hair turns white." Qianye, standing by the side, could not stand hearing that. He quickly interrupted and looked at Shen Changjun. "My sister is still young. She is not that young. A girl should marry when she is grown. Such a beauty will surely find a good home. A wish at the sacred tree can ensure a lifetime of happiness and joy." Shen Changjun gazed at the wishing tree, covered in symbols of longed for happiness. She thought back to everything that happened in this life, and the last. Though everything is fine now, she always felt a sense of loneliness. Life is too long. Perhaps even the gods cannot promise things so far in the future. She feared the rest of her life was too long, and fate too fickle. If something changed in the future, would all today's beauty turn to nothing? After some thought, she tied her heart's wish onto the tree. "I do not ask for eternity. I only wish to cherish the present and the one before my eyes." After Shen Changjun finished her wish, she turned around to find her kid had disappeared. "What the heck? Where's my kid? My kid ran off. How am I all alone now?" "Master." Shen Changjun looked back. She saw Qianye grinning as he handed her a sugar figure. "I suddenly felt like eating something sweet. Master, can you eat with me?" Of course. Qianye had seen the flicker of sorrow on her face under the tree earlier, so he specifically went to buy her favorite sweets. Seeing her keep playing with the sugar figure without taking a bite, he confusedly asked her why she was not eating it. This rabbit-shaped sugar figure reminded her of a certain cute girl. She just could not bring herself to bite it. The two of them arrived in front of a Tonghulu stall. The foodie Shen Changjun's eyes immediately lit up, her mouth watering. Seeing her looking at him expectantly, the well-behaved Qianye said helplessly, "Master, I find myself wanting Tonghulu now. I also want maltose, honey lotus root, osmanthus cake." Every time Shen Changjun lingered for a second, he immediately took the hint and said he wanted to eat it. "Young man, you really know the drill." After sweeping through the food, Shen Changjun saw a stall selling hair ornaments. "Oh, this one." Just as she spoke, the person beside her dashed forward. He bought it directly and put it on his own head. "Don't say it. I want it." Next, looking at her adorable kid, Shen Changjun burst into laughter, clutching her stomach. "Yi, you are so cute." Being praised so suddenly, Qianye's face quietly turned red. Then he put one on her head as well. This time, it was Qianye's turn to smile happily, seeing how extremely cute she looked. This must be the puppy boyfriend and cat girlfriend combo. Suddenly, a carriage came charging through the street. Startled, Qianye quickly pulled her toward him. In the rush, all the food in their hands was knocked away. Holding Shen Changjun in his arms, he breathed a sigh of relief. He hurriedly and carefully checked the woman in his arms. "Master, easy." In the next second, Shen Changjun starts wailing loudly, crying out that all their delicious treats have fallen to the ground. This catches Qianye completely off guard. He grumbles that this girl only ever thinks about her stomach. With tears in her eyes, she munches on the last remaining candied hawthorn in her hand. She does not forget to feed the final one to Qianye. "Yee, come on, open wide." Looking at the candy candied hawthorn being held out to him. He realizes she had just taken a bite of it. His young face instantly turns bright red. Tastes good, right? After eating and drinking their fill, they happily head to an inn to rest. The two arrive at an elegantly decorated inn. The owner's eyes sparkle upon seeing such a handsome man and beautiful woman. Would you two like to stay a few nights? Your room is on the house. He thinks to himself that such a striking duo is the best free advertisement. They arrive at the reserved room. Qianye says, "Master, I should go and open another room for myself." A certain oblivious woman replies, "Why, there are only two of us." "Exactly because there are two of us." Qianye pins her against the wall. He leans in so close they can feel each other's breath. He speaks with ultimate charm. "Master, your disciple has already grown up. Do you understand now? Your disciple is now a man. Don't you get it yet?" She reaches out to pat his head, saying of course she understands. "And you have also reached a marriageable age." Shen Changjun thought he was hinting that she would never get married, which felt like a low blow. Seeing her dense reaction, he lets out a sigh. Qianye helplessly leaves, saying they will sleep in separate rooms from now on. Seeing him leave, she blurts out that it is going to rain and thunder tonight. Yi must have reached his rebellious phase. His behavior is so strange. On second thought, she realizes she can have the big bed all to herself. She happily flops onto the bed. The question she was pondering is tossed to the back of her mind. Just then, sounds of a struggle come from the room next door. Shen Changjun rushes to Qianye's room to check the situation. The first thing she sees is flowing red hair and a long spiked whip. It is Han Xiaoxiao. She has finally crossed paths with Qianye. She interrupts the two, who are in the middle of a fight. Qianye sees Shen Changjun and thinks she is worried about him. Who knew she would bring herself a stool and some fine tea? In a blink of an eye, she has the best seat in the house to watch the show. She grins and tells them both to carry on. Grinning, she lets them continue their fight. She smiles broadly and tells them to keep going. Qianye sees her acting like this, and can't help but grumble that she is way too relaxed about him. "Of course, I am just the best wingman ever." She thinks to herself, after all, you two went through thick and thin in your past lives. She has feelings for you that she has not voiced yet. "In this life, as your master, I will give you a little assist." Han Xiaoxiao sees his attention shift. She swings her long whip forward, annoyed he dared to zone out. A grand drama is unfolding right in front of her. Shen Changjun sees Qianye constantly dodging without striking back. She sighs, thinking Yi finally knows how to be a gentleman to a lady. Meanwhile, the person involved looks at Han Xiaoxiao. He thinks that she was, after all, his good bro in his past life. He would better hold back, so he does not accidentally punch her into oblivion. Suddenly, Han Xiaoxiao pulls back her long whip. There is no need to continue this. The bystander is left with questions in her mind. Han Xiaoxiao speaks with confidence. "You are in love with me, are not you?" Deliberately trying to please this princess by not fighting back. "Men who try to show off like you are a dime a dozen. You look decent, but you are just too boring." She turns her head to look at the popcorn-eating Shen Changjun and asks, "Are you the legendary Shen Changjun?" Han Xiaoxiao inquires if she is indeed Shen Changjun. Qianye's refusal to fight back made her feel bored. She challenges Shen Changjun to a duel instead. Shen Changjun just stares at her with a weird goofy grin. The stare is so creepy it sends a shiver down Han Xiaoxiao's spine. At that moment, Qianye pulls her away. He stood between the two of them. "Even the imperial preceptor of the Yan dynasty is no match for my master, let alone her." He questioned her purpose for coming here in the middle of the night. "Sigh, why is master so popular everywhere she goes? There is always someone trying to steal her attention from me." Meanwhile, Shen Changjun thought Yi was acting this way, just to protect the girl from getting hurt. As for Han Xiaoxiao, she thought this Tsuneri man was simply playing hard to get to catch her eye. The three of them were completely on different wavelengths. With your level of strength, you want to find the water spirit artifact. The fire spirit artifact was already lost by the cultivation world. Yet the Juha sect only sent this few people. She insisted on coming along because she did not trust them, claiming the two of them only needed to assist her. Hearing this, Qianye let out a scoff. "A mere mortal princess sure has a big mouth. Even if her imperial brother came, he would have to be respectful to my master." Shen Changjun interrupted him and agreed to let Han Xiaoxiao join them. Qianye was confused, wondering why she would bother with this. Strictly speaking, it was their fault the fire spirit artifact was lost on mortal turf. Besides, more friends mean more paths, right? In reality, she was plotting to create a shipping opportunity for the two of them. Han Xiaoxiao said, "The inn only has these 2 rooms left. I will have to force myself to share a room with you two." Then Qianye grabbed Shen Changjun's hand. "Then you stay here. Master and I will go rest first." Han Xiaoxiao was speechless at his "it is only natural" attitude. Pushing him away, she nagged, "You are a grown man, do not you know know you should not sleep with your master. Naturally, us girls will sleep together. Pulling Shen Changjun away, she added. In 2 days, a male friend of mine will arrive at Luohe. You can sleep with him when the time comes. Leaving Qianye standing there, completely petrified. On the other side, Shen Changming and Weisheng Ru also arrived in the mortal world. Currently, they were strolling through the marketplace. Looking at the bustling scene, Weisheng Ru could not hide her excitement. She giggled and asked, Master, are those two going to find Changjun Zhenren? Before she could finish, Shen Changming covered her mouth. They were trying to keep a low profile on this trip. They could not let anyone know they were from the cultivation world. He told her not to call him master while in the mortal world. Shen Changming and Weisheng Ru reached the mortal realm. To avoid suspicion, he forbade her from calling him master. Seeing his face suddenly lean in close, Weisheng Ru reflexively bit his hand. After finally settling the matter, they went to a clothing shop to change their outfits. The shopkeeper guessed, are you two siblings? Ru smiled and said, number. We are husband and wife. The shopkeeper thought to himself, this pair looks like siblings. Single quote, but they are actually a married couple. After changing into mortal clothes, the two went to an inn to rest and regroup. Seeing another handsome man and beautiful woman arrive, the shopkeeper's heart fluttered. He spoke up, so sorry, we are all out of rooms tonight, but there is plenty of room in my heart. Helpless, they had no choice but to leave and search elsewhere. She wondered where Changjun Zhenren and the other were, and if they were in danger. Hubby, let us hurry to Luohe to find them. Ru stepped forward and linked her arm with his. The two of them walked away together. Calling him hubby sure comes off the tongue easily. Inside the room at night, Han Xiaoxiao and Shen Changjun were sleeping soundly. Sensing movement in the room, Shen Changjun opened her drowsy eyes and asked, Yi, why are you? The intruder was indeed Qianye. He stared at Shen Changjun on the bed, dazed for a moment. Seeing her wake up, he immediately signaled her to be quiet. Shen Changjun nodded obediently. She whispered, asking him why he came. Her voice was so quiet that Qianye could not hear clearly. The two of them whispered for a long time without understanding a word the other said. Sitting by the bedside, Qianye sighed helplessly. He reached out, propping his hand by her head. Under her startled gaze, he leaned down directly over her. This delicate position and ambiguous atmosphere made both of them blush instantly. Watching Shen Changjun in his arms, he slowly leaned down and whispered in her ear, Master, I can't fall asleep without you tonight. Qianye came to find Shen Changjun at night. He told her that he could not sleep without her. Shen Changjun looked at him. She asked if he wanted to sleep with her. Qianye said no. He just wanted to come and see her. Looking at the playful and clingy Ye, Shen Changjun chuckled. What is so interesting about your master? Are you worried I might get into trouble? There are few in this world who can match me. Hearing this, Qianye stood up, hiding his feelings. He knew his master had always been formidable and self-reliant. She is much stronger than her disciple and does not need him to worry. Shen Changjun looked at Qianye before her. She wondered if she was imagining things. She felt that the kid had been speaking strangely these past 2 days. The sound of their conversation by the table woke up Han Xiaoxiao nearby. Half asleep, she asked who was talking. It is nothing, just a stray cat probably lost its way. It was meowing anxiously. Watching Qianye leave, she thought of her clingy Ye tonight, and her heart softened. After flashing out of the room, Qianye was now sitting alone on the rooftop. The quiet starry sky and the gentle breeze could not conceal the complex emotions in his heart. The next day, the group arrived at Luohe, a scenic spot in the mortal world. The late sun makes the rivers and mountains beautiful. The spring breeze carries the scent of flowers and grass. As a mortal princess, Han Xiaoxiao acted as their guide. Luohe is not just a popular spot for mortals. Occasionally, a mystic realm will open here. Recently, the mystic realms at Luohe have been opening frequently. Recently, the mystic realms at Luohe have been opening frequently. Recently, the mystic realms at Luohe have been opening frequently. We can go try our luck at midnight. A friend will be joining us later. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Seeing her long-lost friend, Du Mingyue, she could not hide her excitement. You are here. Shen Changjun asked Du Mingyue in confusion why he was here. Seeing that they seemed to know each other already, Han Xiaoxiao began to introduce them. The holy monk is the imperial preceptor of Yangguo. He is the friend I mentioned earlier. Suddenly running into Shen Changjun and the others, Du Mingyue was at a loss for words. Unable to hide his shame, he bowed and apologized to them. That day, he knew the theft of the fire spirit artifact was not Juha Zong's fault. Yet he was powerless to stop the other sects. Overwhelmed with shame, he could not sleep at night. Now that the Luohe mystic realm is about to open, he wants to do his small part. Seeing his sincere apology, they could not bring themselves to give him a hard time. This monk is too earnest. Ultimately, it was not his fault. The ways of the world are unpredictable, and fate is hard to fathom, even if no one understands and my name is tarnished. Compared to the well-being of the world's countless souls, I only wish to uphold the righteousness in my heart. After hearing his apology, Qianye made peace with him. He only hoped that in the future, he would not forget what he said today. The group gathered at Luo He in the mortal world. Qianye and Du Mingyue also buried the hatchet. He recalled the great calamity of his past life. Du Mingyue sacrificed himself to protect the common people for a brief moment. He is kind-hearted by nature, just a bit too stubborn. Seeing the somber atmosphere, Han Xiaoxiao stepped forward to lighten the mood. I heard that Luo He is a place where many heroes and immortals make their vows. Now that the scene has stirred our emotions, let us follow their example, watching as everyone had their own firm goals, their own unique paths in life. Shen Changjun felt lost. She did not know what she was pursuing. Was it to escape the fate of her death in the previous life? I would rather return to the mundane life I once knew. But looking at Qianye standing right there, she realizes this world holds people she cherishes and wants to protect. She no longer hesitates. With a clear mind, she runs toward those who are ready to take their oaths. A princess willing to love her people like her own children. A soul willing to uphold justice with a clear conscience. One who seeks the divine artifact to stop the conspiracy. And she is willing to guard this very land, because it is filled with people she truly cares about. The group spent the whole day wandering along the Luo He. During their idle chat, Shen Changjun asks the state preceptor about the employee benefits. Is it a golden rice bowl with lifelong job security? She wonders if she could snag a state preceptor gig for her retirement when she is old. The young never appreciate the perks of a stable system. They mistakenly treat freedom as the ultimate treasure. Suddenly, she notices purple vines beneath her feet. Beside her, Du Mingyue clarifies her confusion. This is not the Nanon poison vine. It is just a common mortal plant. At most, it causes mortals a brief allergic reaction. But the real Nanon poison vine, except for the Honkyu, will attack any living thing that gets close. There is a 1,000-year-old legend about the poison vine and the Honkyu. Seeing the two ahead, chatting and laughing in such a harmonious atmosphere, Han Xiaoxiao turns to Qianye and says, "So your master is the reason the state preceptor stayed away from the mortal realm for 3 years. Your master is quite the beauty. I wonder if she has a cultivation partner yet." Not yet. Han Xiaoxiao accurately steps into a conversational minefield. I think the state preceptor and Changjun Zhenren make a perfect match. Don't you agree? Hearing this, Qianye's body stiffens, and he halts his steps. What do you mean by that? It is exactly what it sounds like. I mean it literally. Perhaps the state preceptor might even return to secular life for someone in the future. Besides, they are equal in strength, status, and looks. A total power couple, completely oblivious to Qianye's abnormal reaction. She continues, even without the state preceptor, other cultivators would surely pursue her. With both strength and beauty, it is only a matter of time. Listening to Han Xiaoxiao's words, Qianye's expression becomes complicated. A faint bitterness begins to brew deep in his heart. Hearing Han Xiaoxiao discuss his master's future partner, even though he feels a sense of unease, he watches Shen Changjun in the distance as she speaks. Master is extraordinarily talented and possesses a stern sense of justice. She acts with a grand vision that transcends status or gender. In my eyes, she is simply a wonderful person in her own right. I do not care about what kind of man she might be paired with in the future. Furthermore, master has zero interest in bald donkeys or monks. On this scroll is the type of man my master likes. If you find a suitable candidate someday, princess, it won't be too late to play matchmaker then. Han Xiaoxiao opens the scroll out of curiosity. She is instantly struck dumb, feeling like she has been hit by a bolt from the blue. You have actually kept this bone drawing master gave you until now. This kid has quite a few schemes up his sleeve. On the other side, Du Mingyue is telling Shen Changjun the 1,000-year-old tale of the poison vine and the Honkyu. Legend says a princess wanting to end the war volunteered to go to the enemy kingdom for a political marriage with the crown prince. Under a 1,000-year-old divine tree, she prayed to succeed in killing him. Later, she traveled across the Luo He to marry the prince. But on the wedding night, she and her husband committed suicide together. The princess's blood-red wedding gown transformed into a Honkyu bird, and the heartbreaking poison wine turned into the poison vine. The two could not be together in life. But after death, their souls lingered for one another. Everyone in the world is trapped by love, as if in a dream. He holds the bird out toward Shen Changjun. Changjun Zhenren, tell me, is it more painful to love too much or to have no heart at all? Shen Changjun lets the bird fly away and replies, though I cannot answer your question for now. In the princess's story, I saw something else. Her unwavering resolve to protect her country and her people. I admire her fortitude. If I were in her shoes, I do not know if I would have the same courage she did. Du Mingyue listens to her words. He agrees that she makes a point. It was his own perspective that was narrow. Just then, Qianye strides up to the two of them. After Zhu Qianye finished his conversation with Han Xiaoxiao, he saw Shen Changjun and Du Mingyue still chattering away. He walked up to her side, suddenly took her hand and said, "Master, your disciple suddenly finds the riverside way too noisy." Without giving her a chance to speak, he pulled her along and walked away quickly. "We should separate ourselves from these outsiders. It will be much more peaceful." Just then, a thunderous rumble echoed from the ground. A massive whirlpool surged within the lake beside them. The secret realm has appeared. The powerful wind caused both of them to lose their balance. Shen Changjun, being closer to the entrance, was sucked up by the vortex. Terrified, Zhu Qianye shouted, "Master, be careful." He gripped her hand with all his might, and immediately used his strength to pull her toward him. He shielded Shen Changjun tightly in his arms. Looking at the dangerous vortex behind them, he realized neither of them could escape right now. Gritting his teeth, he made a split-second decision. He channeled his profound energy to push her toward the shore. He had to get her out of danger first. Falling onto the shore, Shen Changjun watched as the entrance began to close. She turned pale with shock. Easy. Ignoring Du Mingyu's attempts to stop her, she jumped into the vortex without a second thought. She had to protect her Yi. Even if it meant death, she would never leave him alone. An unknown amount of time passed. Inside the Luo He secret realm, Shen Changjun was swept onto a stone platform. Slowly regaining consciousness, she opened her eyes. She rubbed her head, which was still throbbing with pain. Had she already entered the Luo He secret realm? Suddenly, a loud movement sounded from behind her. It was the guardian beast of the water spirit artifact. The two of them encountered danger in the Luo He secret realm. After falling into the heart of the realm, Shen Changjun woke up to face the guardian beast. As saliva dripped onto her shoulder, she looked up to see the beast staring at her menacingly. She could not help but feel frustrated by her trouble magnet constitution. Why did these things always happen to her? She quickly dodged its attack. Drawing the Honkyu sword, she gathered her spiritual power. She leaped up and struck it with all her might, but it did not leave even a single scratch. Next, she channeled all her profound energy into the Honkyu sword, and lunged forcefully at the beast's head. Yet it only managed to pierce a few inches deep. Moments later, the Honkyu sword could no longer hold out. She withdrew the sword and dodged another attack. Even a nascent soul expert could not escape the Honkyu sword unscathed. Yet it was completely ineffective against this guardian beast. It seemed all its cultivation was focused on physical defense. She had to find its weakness. The original novel's description of this part was way too vague. How on earth did the male lead defeat it in the first place? Shen Changjun prepared to retreat and rethink her strategy, but the beast was too fast. Just as she was about to be hit, someone saved her in time. Realizing the newcomer was Zhu Qianye, she looked delighted. She was about to speak when he covered her mouth. The beast had stopped its attack. He then lifted her hand and wrote in her palm while holding her. The beast is eyeless and relies on other senses. Use the breath concealment technique to hide. The breath concealment technique is a spell for wood element cultivators. Since she was of the metal element, she did not know this spell. He immediately held Shen Changjun closer and cast an enhanced breath concealment technique. He comforted her, signaling that he would always be by her side. The beast was still searching for the intruders. Sensing Shen Changjun's anxiety, and fearing she might be scared, he quickly held her hand, covered her eyes, and pulled her tighter into his embrace. After a while, they saw the beast moving away. Zhu Qianye made a suggestion to her. "Master, my strength is still too weak to defeat it, and you do not know the breath concealment technique. How about we join forces?" Then the two of them stood before the beast, channeling their mystic chi. Zhu Qianye told her not to worry. He promised to stay by her side and never leave her. Suddenly, the spirit of the Nanon poison vine appeared. It perched upon the shoulder of the Honkyu sword spirit. Their combined technique, Nanwang Hongji, was ready. A red and purple mystic chi began to glow around them. Zhu Qianye supported her waist from behind and held her hand. They prepared to strike the beast with all their might. To counter Zuao, the guardian beast of the water spiritual artifact, Shen Changjun and Zhu Qianye unleashed their combo move, the Nanwang Honkyu strike. Zhu Qianye held her firmly, waiting for the right moment. With a great shout, they poured all their spiritual power into the charge. They lunged straight for the beast's head, injecting the Nanon poison vine's toxin through the blade's edge. In one fluid motion, they retreated and landed gracefully. They watched Zuao, now paralyzed by the toxin and unable to move. A moment later, the beast's body began to dissipate. Unable to maintain its form, the core of Zuao abandoned its shell and fled. Shen Changjun beamed with joy upon seeing the water demon core. Zhu Qianye finally let go of her waist. Seeing her so delighted, he handed the hard-won demon core to her. She said this water demon core would greatly aid his cultivation. She insisted that he keep it. But then, she noticed his finger was cut and bleeding. Distressed, she grabbed his hand. A wave of warmth surged through his heart. Master, thank you. And thank you for risking your life to save me in Yaoyue Forest 4 years ago. You never gave up on me. Everything I am today, I owe to you. From now on, I won't let anyone hurt you ever again. After speaking, he carefully placed her finger in his mouth. Using a healing technique, the wound closed instantly. Shen Changjun was stunned by his sudden, intimate gesture. Her face flushed red and her heart skipped a beat. Just then, the water spiritual artifact slowly rose from the center of the lake. The legendary artifact they had been searching for finally appeared. Shen Changjun looked on in pleasant surprise. The two of them quickly flew toward the artifact. They curiously examined the legendary water spiritual artifact. Legend says that touching it reveals one's own future. She wondered if it was actually true. Hearing this, Qianye reached out to touch the mirror surface. One way to find out. Beside him, the curious Shen Changjun asked eagerly, "What do you see?" As a blue light flickered in Qianye's eyes, his consciousness entered the vision of the mirror. He saw himself and his master getting very cozy in a room. The two of them looked completely lost in each other's embrace. Shocked and embarrassed, he snapped back to reality. He instinctively swatted the artifact away. How could this damn mirror show such scandalous scenes? It is fake, it is all freaking fake. Shen Changjun quickly tried to restrain Qianye. He was acting totally frantic, looking like he was about to smash the artifact to pieces. Easy there, Qianye, don't be so impulsive. Don't take it out on a piece of glass. She thought to herself, what on earth did this kid see? He is absolutely fuming. It seems this water spiritual artifact is definitely the real deal. Suddenly, strange noises echoed from above the secret realm. The artifact had been taken. So the secret realm must be becoming unstable. Danger. They needed to get out of there fast. She quickly tucked the water spiritual artifact into her belt. She told Qianye they had to find the exit immediately. But the boy beside her was still dazed by what he would seen. Suddenly, a golden light glowed beneath their feet. A golden vortex enveloped them both. It turned out Du Mingyue was using a Chanzong secret technique from outside. He was teleporting them out. She grabbed Qianye's hand. Her disciple was still totally stuck on the images from the artifact. Master shouted, Du Mingyue, help me, and funneled her power, activating the secret entrance. Outside, Du Mingyue sensed her call. He immediately coordinated his power. A second later, Shen Changjun and Qianye safely escaped the secret realm. Then, she retrieved the water spirit artifact from her spatial bag and handed it to Du Mingyue. Let this water spirit artifact replace the fire spirit artifact that Juha sect lost. Consider it making amends. You can take it back to give the other 4 major sects an explanation. Du Mingyue curiously touched the water spirit artifact before him. Little did he know, he was about to witness a shocking scene. The moment Du Mingyue's hand met the mirror's surface, a startling vision flashed before his eyes. He pulled his hand back in disbelief, gritting his teeth as he retreated. Shen Changjun explained to Du Mingyue, this water spirit artifact can predict the future. To be safe, let us wait until it is properly wrapped before handling it. Shen Changjun, who had originally wanted to give it a try herself, saw that both he and Qianye looked completely shaken after seeing their visions. She secretly started to have second thoughts. What if she saw the scene of her past life where she was brutally killed? Then her mental state would truly have a total meltdown. Better to just keep things as they are now. Maintaining this harmonious vibe with Ye is enough. Let the future keep its sense of mystery. Nearby, Qianye saw Du Mingyue looking incredibly shocked, with a panicked expression on his face, and could not help but feel surprised. This monk is usually as steady as Mount Tai. He had never seen him show such an expression before. Could it be that in the mirror he saw himself and some lady sharing some unspeakable story? Seems even men of the cloth have a lot on their minds. At that thought, Qianye's face flushed red, and he could not resist casting a little glance, secretly peeking at Shen Changjun beside him. By the way, Ye, how did you know the Zuao's weakness? Qianye turned his face away and stammered, I just read it in the library. While they were chatting, a group of well-trained soldiers arrived. The leading attendant saw the princess, exclaiming in relief that they finally found her. He hurried to bow to Shen Changjun in apology. Her Highness has caused trouble for Juha sect. The state of Yan did indeed send an artifact as a token of friendship, but Her Highness was not originally part of the delegation. Her Highness likely followed out of playfulness, sneaking along with the envoys to the cultivation world. She left the imperial palace without permission. Hearing this, Han Xiaoxiao angrily grabbed him. Why can't I represent the state of Yan as an envoy? By what right must I go and marry someone else for the sake of the country? Those people the palace sent are useless. They lost the fire spirit artifact, so I am getting it back myself. I am just fixing the mess. Then she pointed at Qianye nearby, declaring that she had already pledged her life to him. He was her chosen husband, and she would marry no one else. I approve. A majestic voice echoed. Brother. A man lifted the curtain of the carriage and slowly stepped out. This person was officially the Emperor of Yan, Han Shao. Right as Han Shaoxiao was announcing Zhu Qianye as her consort, Han Shao, Emperor of the greatest mortal dynasty, arrived. He had a tall and upright posture, exuding the domineering aura of a true ruler. When Shen Changjun saw Han Shao, she could not help but sigh in admiration. Whoa, he truly lives up to the title of Emperor. His looks and temperament are top tier. He is a total eye candy super hottie. Beside her, Zhu Qianye caught her admiring gaze, and could not help but feel secretly annoyed. She is used to seeing her brother and Du Mingyue every day, but it is rare to see such an outstandingly handsome guy of the same generation. The attendant said, if the princess has her eye on Master Changjun's personal disciple, then the state of Yan and Juha sect would be truly bonded by marriage. Today, His Majesty is here not just for the princess, but for other matters too. Hearing this, Shen Changjun pondered what other connection there could be. Could this guy be the original host's long-lost son in the mortal realm? But the age does not match up either. Right at that moment, an attendant's loud announcement interrupted his thoughts. The sovereign of Yangguo wishes to form a blessed union with Master Changjun of the Juha sect. A perfect match made in heaven. Hearing this, both Zhu Qianye and Han Shaoxiao were shell-shocked. Han Shao paced slowly toward Shen Changjun. He reached out and tilted her chin up. Shen Changjun, I intend to take you as my empress. Ha ha tilde. Before Shen Changjun could even respond, the Nanon poison vines quickly lashed out to separate them. HMPH, how utterly rude. How dare he lust after his master. Shen Changjun saw that it was Qianye who had intervened. Her very first legitimate romantic spark had just been swatted away by him. But this man is the true dragon, the son of heaven, worshipped by 10,000 in the mortal realm, protected by ancestors through generations of human tribulations. Picking a fight with him is dangerous. Han Shao was displeased that someone dared to speak so arrogantly and interrupt his moment of pleasure. Zhu Qianye did not back down an inch. If anyone dared to harm his master, a murderous glint flashed in his eyes. I will kill you. 1 second. Han Shao was still locked in a tense standoff with Zhu Qianye. The next second, he burst into a loud laughter. My royal sister has certainly set her eyes on an extraordinary boy. He then looked deeply at Shen Changjun, claiming he had no ulterior motives. It was merely a case of, a fair lady is a gentleman's desire, and warned her that sooner or later she would be his woman. Shen Changjun, standing aside, was speechless. She thought, what kind of overbearing CEO script is this? Wait, he is not a CEO, he is an emperor. Thinking of this, Shen Changjun could not help but snicker. Turns out he is a loyal fan of the overbearing sovereign trope. Meanwhile, Zhu Qianye was fuming with rage. He grumbled that just because the man said a few flirtatious words, she got all happy like that. I think there is no need for this. My master likes older men, the kind that are several hundred years old. You are still too young. Now that the water spirit artifact is in hand, and handed over to Du Mingyue for safekeeping, master and I should return to the cultivation world. MMPH, before he could finish his sentence. Too slender. MMPH. Delicate hands instantly covered Zhu Qianye's mouth. Han Shaoxiao whispered urgently, if you deny our relationship now, I will be sent far away for a political marriage. Oh, have a safe trip then. This made Han Shaoxiao hit the roof with anger. She was ready to pummel Zhu Qianye. Is this your way of playing hard to get with this princess? Fine, you have succeeded. Shen Changjun immediately pulled Han Shaoxiao back. Don't be impulsive. He is just a brat, it is not worth it. Han Shao, standing nearby, ignored the trio's antics. He stated there was no rush to return to the cultivation world, and invited them all back to the imperial capital. He mentioned that Shen Changjun's brother, Shen Changming, was also in the palace. Hearing that her brother had also come to the mortal realm, Shen Changjun's face lit up with pure joy and surprise. Then what about my Ru? You mean that female disciple? Naturally, she is with him as well. The next second, Shen Changjun grabbed Zhu Qianye's small hand, begging him not to go back to the cultivation world just yet. Faced with her overwhelming cuteness, Zhu Qianye could only sigh helplessly. He eventually agreed. Behind them, Han Shaoxiao rubbed her chin thoughtfully. Who is this Ru? She was clearly unwilling to cooperate just now, but as soon as she heard that woman's name, she agreed to go to the capital. A winged white horse pulled the group along. The sound of hooves went clip-clop, clip-clop. Shen Changjun curiously poked her head out of the window. She marveled in awe. The mortal realm had already learned to store spiritual energy in spirit stones, and apply it to everyday life. At this moment, Ru grumbled that the secret realm had closed after being open for only one night. It must be because Master Changjun successfully retrieved the water spirit artifact. But why have not they returned yet? Shen Changming raised a skeptical eyebrow. He heard that members of the Yan royal family came here today. Strangely, above the rooftops of the Yan capital at this time, a group of people is speeding along. My royal brother has so many concubines, but today is the first time I have heard him promise a woman. the position of empress. Catching a glimpse of Qianye counting on his fingers, she asked, "What are you doing?" "Calculating the time." "Time for what?" It turns out that in his past life, when Qianye traveled the continent, he heard of a certain forbidden technique, using one's state of mind as the foundation, to peek into destiny through the movements of the heart, changing karma and reversing the heavens and earth. This forbidden technique can only be maintained for a brief moment. His past life's body and power can only be restored for a split second. If used again, he would likely need 3 to 5 years to recover. But 4 years have already passed since then. Logically speaking, I can now briefly unleash my past life's power once more. "Hey, why won't you tell me what time it is?" Startled, Qianye shouted back, "I am calculating the funeral date of a certain insect, your royal brother." Meanwhile, in another carriage, Shen Changjun marveled at the prosperity of the Yan capital. The next second, Han Xiao leaned close to her ear and asked dominantly, "Do you like it? All of this will be yours in the future." This move scared the living daylights out of Shen Changjun. Only a man's miserable scream could be heard from inside the carriage. "I am so sorry. You suddenly appeared behind me, and I just gave you a tiny little tap." With blood at the corner of his mouth, Han Xiao struggled to hold himself up. He explained that his true dragon protection would prevent any real injury, and that he was just coincidentally feeling carsick. As soon as he finished, blood sprayed out like a fountain. "Quick, get His Majesty back to the palace." Imperial physician, imperial physician. An attendant bowed and said, "Shen Changjun, this is the manner His Majesty specifically bestowed upon you. He has also granted you the title of Grand Master. I shall trouble sect leader Shen no further." Nearby, Shen Changjun yawned and asked, "Yi, are you sleeping with me tonight or by yourself?" Hearing this, Qianye's face turned beet red. The next second, the scenes from within the water spirit artifact flashed in his mind again. With asterisk whack, he gave Shen Changjun a flick on the forehead. "Why are you always so defenseless? What if someone has wicked designs on you?" Shen Changjun chuckled. "But Yi is the only one I do not need to be guarded against. Master, for a long time to come, I cannot sleep with you anymore." "Why, oh right. And do not call me Yi anymore. It sounds way too childish." "Then, what do you want me to call you?" Qianye took Shen Changjun's slender hand and looked at her affectionately, saying, "Qianye." Qianye held Shen Changjun's hand tightly, gently asking her to call him Qianye. Qianye, Shen Changjun's face lit up with a smile. She leaned in and promised she would call him that from now on. At this moment, Qianye's face was as red as a thoroughly boiled crab, completely crimson. He desperately wanted to jump into a pond to cool down. Phew, if Shen Changjun had not grabbed him in time, Qianye would not even have been able to suppress his little brother. Haha, never mind. Better stick to the old name for now. Just as he was about to turn and leave this awkward situation, Shen Changjun called out to him, "Wait, this water attribute pill from Zuo is most suitable for your wood attribute cultivation. Perhaps it can help your Nanon poison vine gather spirit and evolve." Looking at the pill, Qianye could not help but reveal a joyful smile. "Master, you are always thinking of me. I am really happy." Just as he reaches out to take it, in the next second, Shen Changjun suddenly snatches it back. Using every ounce of her strength, she rips the prescription in half. "Hee, finders keepers, losers weepers. We will go halves on this." She says that when they enter the palace tomorrow, she will give the other half to Ruer, who also practices water-based cultivation. She then urges Qianye to put his half away safely. Seeing this, Qianye's face instantly drops. He turns around to leave. "Master, why do not you just give both halves to junior sister? That would make her even happier." But Shen Changjun notices something is off with him. She grabs Qianye's hand firmly, launching her charm offensive once again. "This is the very first time I have ever given you a gift, Qianye tilde." Drunk on affection, Qianye's face instantly turns into that of an obedient puppy. Seeing the situation settled, Shen Changjun immediately starts yawning. "All right, get some rest early. We have to go to the palace to find Shen Changming and the others tomorrow morning." At this moment, Qianye is still feeling restless. He cautiously tugs at the corner of Shen Changjun's sleeve. "Master, could you ever lose your heart to him?" "To whom, Han Xiao? Or perhaps some other man?" At this, Shen Changjun replies, "Even though cultivators usually have endless years ahead of them, and some even become cold and detached after reaching divinity, in truth, I still enjoy the simple warmth of the mortal world and want a peaceful life, spending the rest of my days in joy and laughter. If I could meet someone I truly like, a lifetime with just one person would not be so bad. Didn't you say it yourself, that I am already at the age to be thinking about marriage?" He grips Shen Changjun's sleeve even tighter, reminding her that Han Xiao is not a good man. "Then I will just find a good one. I will meet him eventually. Recalling what Han Xiaoxiao said before, that even if it was not the state preceptor, there would always be other cultivators pursuing her master. He slowly lets go of her sleeve. I wish for you to find a worthy man soon, master. But I swear, if you ever find yourself betrayed by a scoundrel, your disciple will not let that person off easily. Shen Changjun waves her hand and says with a laugh, oh please. Only the one drinking the water knows if it is hot or cold. Love is like that. Yee, you do not need to worry about me. But then he thinks, true. I am merely your disciple. We are not even related. Even if that day ever comes, Shen Changming would be the one to stand up for you. Besides, there are thousands of Juha Zong disciples to protect you. It does not have to be me. After saying that, he turns away without looking back to go cultivate. Is it just my imagination? I feel like Yi Yi has been acting a bit weird lately. Is he afraid that if I get a partner, he will have a wicked stepdad? Is he worried that once I have a companion, I won't want him anymore? The next second, overcome by sleepiness, Shen Changjun lets out a yawn. Forget it, forget it. I will explain to him later that he will always be my precious baby. Sleep first. The moonlight filters through the window curtains, shining onto Du Mingyu's hairless, shiny forehead. Who in this world would have thought that a compassionate saint monk could actually be the most bloodthirsty and cruel demon on earth? Looking at his reflection in the Shuling Shenqi, on his already sparse forehead, a few more hairs have fallen out. The traditional empress coronation ceremony of the Yan dynasty. Fresh flowers line a path for miles, their fragrance filling the air. On this day of a vast sea of blossoms, it signifies the emperor announcing to the world that a lady is to be crowned as his empress, a mother to the nation, a celebration for all people. At this moment, a knock sounds at Shen Changjun's door. With a face full of sleepiness, she signals that this baby is not awake yet. But once she sees the reality before her, her pupils instantly dilate. Miss Shen, the time has come. At this time, Shen Changjun is cupping Zhu Qianye's face, looking at Zhu Qianye with deep affection, and gently calling out his name, Qianye. In the next second, the scene everyone least expects to see actually happens. Suddenly, Zhu Qianye's pupils dilated in shock. So, it was all just a dream. He immediately bolted upright, in bed. Seeing their young master awake, the maids rushed over with basins of water for Zhu Qianye to wash up. With a loud splash, Zhu Qianye plunged his face into water, heated to exactly 72 degrees. He soaked there for exactly 21 minutes. How did I end up falling asleep while cultivating yesterday? And to have a dream like that? Could it be because I saw the artifact's prophecy yesterday? Is that why my subconscious played tricks on me last night? Or was it because I had that dream first, that the artifact's prediction of the scene was actually skewed? Wait. What if that prophecy was not a dream at all? What if it is something that will actually happen in the future? That would be straight up betraying my master, totally scandalous and taboo. Thinking this, he plunged his face back into the basin. At that moment, the maid announced, "Today is the auspicious day for Lady Shen's wedding to His Majesty. We hope that after your meal, young Master Zhu, you can head to the princess's manor and join Her Highness to enter the palace." Hey, that dog of an emperor sure loves his pipe dreams, Zhu Qianye thought. He spoke coldly. Master would never agree to this, especially not on such short notice. The maid forced a smile and replied, "Lady Shen already left the manor early this morning. She has entered the palace for the Grand Empress coronation ceremony." Hearing this, Zhu Qianye panicked. Something was terribly wrong. As the nations bowed to the throne and flowers drifted through the air, Shen Changjun entered the palace, flanked by a troop of maids. Naturally, there was also a eunuch leading the way. Shen Changjun's expression was grim. She felt a strange sense of déjà vu about this place in Yangguo. I have got it now. It turns out the Weisheng clan was once the world's most formidable merchant family. Their trade routes reached every corner of the northern and southern wilderness, and their family's core lineage was rooted right here in Yangguo. The mortal emperor of the northern wilderness was deathly afraid of the Weisheng clan. Ultimately, he framed them for treason and collaborating with the enemy. The entire family was sentenced to execution. In the original story, the male lead saved his former junior sister, Weisheng Ru. She became the sole survivor of her entire clan, a pure soul left alone. But sometimes, surviving is the greatest misfortune of all. The Weisheng family was wiped out in a single night. Parents, brothers, all gone. Weisheng Ru was utterly heartbroken. She went into hiding. As a white moonlight character who originally had very little screen time, she vanished from the world without a trace after that. Presumably, she lived out her days in melancholy, wasting away what remained of her life. She recalled the servant who had handed her a note earlier. On it were records of some dirty laundry regarding the Weisheng family. The message told Shen Changjun to read it carefully, then consider following the servant to the coronation ceremony. But why? Why has the Weisheng family's tragedy been moved up in the timeline? Theoretically, we have only just reached the beginning of the story. Thump thump went her heart. With a heavy and hesitant heart, Shen Changjun pushed open the massive doors of the palace hall. She decided she could not let the Weisheng family meet that tragic end again. As she looked at the empty, silent hall, just as suspicion began to arise, a golden iron cage suddenly appeared above her. With a loud clang, it locked Shen Changjun inside. Damn it, her body suddenly felt completely drained of strength. It was a mechanical trap forged from spirit stones. Crap. My spiritual power is being continuously drained by this thing. At that moment, a man walked over with a leisurely air. Originally, we wanted the Weisheng family to serve us. But then we heard that the daughter of the Weisheng house became a high-ranking cultivator, the only direct disciple of the Juha sect master, Shen Changjun. We suddenly felt that compared to the Weisheng family, the Juha sect holds far more value. However, we never expected that Shen Changjun's only sister would personally grace the mortal realm. Word is, he dotes on his sister quite dearly. Clearly, you are much more useful than that disciple of yours. Shen Changjun stares at Han Xiao. She grits her teeth. So you lured me here, and announced to the whole world that I am your empress. She then threatens Han Xiao, the queen of a nation, locked in a cage. How will you explain this to your people? Han Xiao remains smug and unbothered. There is no difference between you and the concubines in the harem, inside a golden cage or within palace walls. It is all the same. They are all just wingless birds who can't fly away. This golden cage will slowly drain your spiritual power. Right now, you are nothing more than a mere mortal. Once I hide you away, your life or death will be entirely up to me. Han Xiao looks at Shen Changjun's current state. This time, I win for sure. Even that Shen Changjun, the only peak nascent soul stage expert on the continent, will have to behave and listen to me when the time comes. And that daughter of the Weisheng family, she will surely follow her master's lead, won't she? Then there is your disciple, the one in 100 years, the second genius to enter the golden core stage before the age of 20. At only 17, he is basically the world's top prodigy. Soon he too will be working for me. They still do not realize they won't make it in time to save you, because you are about to be hidden in a place where the sun never shines. He then pinches Shen Changjun's delicate face. You are my empress. Your son will be the crown prince. This is an honor countless women would not even dare to dream of. Are you happy? I used to hear that teaching a disciple would make the master starve to death. Now it seems I have not been that selfless after all. Now that the title of the world's top prodigy has been snatched away, even if it is my own most pampered disciple, I feel a bit unwilling to lose. Shen Changjun takes out a blue pill. She slowly absorbs 4 years of cultivation she had hidden away. I intended to live a quiet and ordinary life. I did not expect to attract so many pests. Time to show my hand. No more playing around. I am breaking through. Suddenly, a purple-red aura explodes around Shen Changjun, the first person in a millennium to break into the nascent soul stage at age 24. Since I came to the mortal world, everyone has been calling me Miss Shen all day. Do I not deserve a proper title? I am the leader of the 100 sects in the cultivation world, the first peak master of Juha Zong. You all shall address me with respect as Changjun Zhenren. The next second, the golden cage shatters like scraps of paper. My talent and luck are not just once in a century. My dear disciple only reached where he is because he took half of my core, and my brother's sect leader is only a few years older than me. Having broken through to the nascent soul stage, Shen Changjun's aura skyrockets. She looks like a goddess descending to earth. Scared witless, the eunuch rushes to protect the emperor. You dare to covet the power of Juha Zong. It seems you have all grown tired of living. She swings her sword, signaling for them all to come at her at once. Han Xiao, today the matter between Juha Zong and Yangguo will be settled. Between you and me, outside the palace gates, countless soldiers are being utterly defeated. 3 figures fight through the heavy siege and break through to the front of the palace. The 3 are Qianye, Shen Changjun, and Ruru. With a loud bang, they kick the door open and shout, "Hand her over." But the next second, the 3 of them are completely stunned by the scene before them. They see the 2 of them, including Han Xiao, sitting on the dragon throne, leisurely sipping high-quality milk tea. Shen Changjun looks incredibly relaxed and content. She even complains, cultivating and fighting monsters all day is exhausting. Afternoons should be spent lying lazily and listening to music. Han Xiao chimes in, dealing with schemes and betrayals all day is draining. One should enjoy some well-deserved downtime openly and honestly. The 3 newcomers stare in disbelief. Changjun Zhenren about that. Their faces are full of confusion. Master, what is going on? The trio stands there, totally speechless. The 3 of them looked utterly speechless. That Changjun Zhenren, the one from the rumors circulating outside, before Ruru could finish her sentence. Shen Changjun waved her little hand, beckoning the 3 of them over to try some bubble tea. She even added, when the time comes, I will definitely have you guys promote it for the Weisheng family. Shen Changming, however, was not buying it. He asked domineeringly, what on earth is going on? All of Yangguo is buzzing with rumors that you are going to marry a bug. Sect Master Shen, where are your manners? Your Majesty, this is what your subjects are saying. Perhaps I misheard. Caught between the two, Shen Changjun let out a long sigh. She casually explained, that dog of an emperor. I mean, His Majesty fell for me at first sight. She casually explained, that dog of an emperor. I mean, His Majesty fell for me at first sight. She casually explained, that dog of an emperor. I mean, His Majesty fell for me at first sight. She casually explained, that dog of an emperor. I mean, His Majesty fell for me at first sight. He is just so head over heels for me. He said he would rather spend the rest of his life single than not marry me. It is impossible. He is begging me to pity his love. He does not ask to be born on the same day, same month, same year, but he begs to have me by his side for the rest of his life. Han Xiao, holding his swollen cheek, confirmed, that is exactly right. It all started about an hour ago. The two were in the middle of a heated, screen-filling argument. Just as they were about to throw down, Du Mingyue suddenly arrived. Sect Master Shen has already broken through the barrier and entered the palace gates. If he were to witness this scene with his own eyes, I am afraid there would be no way to de-escalate the situation. If Yangguo and the Juha sect were to openly clash, the only ones who would suffer are the common people and the thousands of cultivators. Why do not you both take a step back? Hearing this, his words brought the two to their senses. They both nodded in agreement. However, Shen Changjun's condition was that the Dog Emperor must burn the evidence of the crime and swear in the name of the king to let the Weisheng clan go from now on. Han Xiao wanted the power of the Juha sect. He hoped to form a friendly alliance with the Juha sect through marriage. In a flash, Shen Changjun cupped Han Xiao's face. Your Majesty, you love me too much. You are so hopelessly in love with me. So she decided to give him a chance. Shen Changjun stated that for the next month, she would remain in the mortal realm. If you can move my heart, it will be a wonderful thing. If not, then you will declare in the name of the king that you will no longer pester me. Hearing Shen Changjun's speech, the beauty is truly sharp-tongued. Her words are more pleasant than a song. Overhearing this, Qianye silently turned around. He walked out of the palace, all alone. At this moment, a melancholic Du Mingyue was walking down the main street. He was thinking about what he had seen inside the water spirit artifact back then. The images he saw. Ever since that day, Du Mingyue had been having nightmares. But upon waking, he would forget everything completely. Du Mingyue clutched his bald head, where his hair had all fallen out. He tried desperately to remember who that person was, but the moment he tried to think, a sharp pain shot through his head. Suddenly, the sound of hurried footsteps came from behind him. It was Her Highness, the princess. I said I won't marry him, and that is final. I am leaving Yangguo and never coming back. A damned eunuch in front blocked the princess's path. He was trying his best to brainwash her. You can't leave. Either you marry Qianye, or you marry far away to the southern barbarian lands. He even said, in life, you are a person of Yangguo. In death, you are a ghost of Yangguo. After hearing this, Du Mingyue reflected that this palace was nothing but a gilded cage. They are all just birds without wings. It is impossible to fly away. Who would not want to be like Shen Changjun and break free from that gilded cage? With a clang, he blocked the way in front of the princess. Your Highness, take care. The princess understood immediately. One step, two steps, as if on roller skates. She swiftly vaulted over the high wall and made her grand escape. At this time, a listless Qianye was walking down the street. The bustling street meant nothing to him. The sound of someone shouting to sell osmanthus cakes filled the air. Qianye remembered that osmanthus cakes were his junior sister's absolute favorite, so he decided to buy some. The vendor remarked that when she sees how well he treats her, she will surely be over the moon. But Qianye simply asked indifferently, is that so? At this moment, Shen Changjun and Han Xiao were standing atop the imperial city walls. In 1 month's time, I will not fall for you. By then, between the Weisheng clan and the Juha sect, you won't be able to take down either one. Seeing Han Xiao's calm demeanor, Shen Changjun questioned further, do you have an ulterior motive? Are you trying to keep me and Shen Changming in the mortal world on purpose? Han Xiao ignored Shen Changjun for the moment. He simply pointed into the distance at the flickering lights of the citizens within the city. Shen Changjun was speechless, face full of black lines. Fine, do not answer then. But the very next scene made Shen Changjun light up with joy. Countless Kongming lanterns began to float up within the imperial city. This scenery, even a vintage lady like me, is starting to feel a flutter in my heart. Han Xiao casually plucked a flower and placed it in Shen Changjun's hair. Against that backdrop, the two of them actually looked quite poetic together. However, what neither of them knew was that Qianye was right below the city walls, watching them. By the way, that disciple of yours seems to care about you a lot. Of course, I watched him grow up bit by bit. But Han Xiao immediately countered, but what? Do you dislike this disciple? Leaning against the wall, Shen Changjun said with deep emotion, of course not. I love him very much. but I always feel like he is hiding something in his heart. Since he was little, the way he looked at me was always so cold. Sometimes I felt like he was not just a child. I have always wanted to mend this relationship. It was not until he grew up that I realized one thing. His heart does not belong to the Juha sect. He belongs to a much larger world. Down in the city streets, Qianye threw everything he had just bought onto the ground. Sir, did not you want to buy a stick of candied haws for your sister? This one is freshly made. No need. Someone else will buy them for her in the future. The vendor stuffed a stick of candied haws into Qianye's hand anyway, saying it was the last one and it was on the house. He told him to hurry up and taste how sweet it was. Qianye remarked that it tasted bitter. As for what kind of bitter this was, I think it is pretty self-explanatory, folks. The vendor stood there with a face full of confusion. Oh, by the way, there is a 1,000-year-old sacred tree in the Wuwang Sea. Making wishes there is very effective. Hanging a wish plaque on the tree only costs 3 coins. Have you made a wish yet? Qianye said indifferently. No. I am illiterate. Moonlight pierced through thin clouds, illuminating the rooftops. At this moment, Qianye was walking alone in a dark alley. There are already enough tragic lovers throughout history. There is no need to add another regret to your story. A voice suddenly resonated from deep within Qianye. Qianye, I have been with you for 4 years. Listening to you mumble about your master in the depths of your heart has given me calluses on my ears. I can't stand watching this anymore. Let me give you a helping hand, so you can finally see your true feelings for your master. Meanwhile, Shen Changjun was still chatting away with Han Xiao on the city wall. He asked, once your disciple becomes a man, will you just let go and let him roam the world on his own? Shen Changjun replied meaningfully, if he wants to leave, I won't stop him. But if he wants to be with me, I will never take the initiative to push him away again. Han Xiao reached out a wandering hand to pull Shen Changjun close. Then, if you were to marry someone else, what would your disciple do if he could not let you go? With a quick move, Shen Changjun pushed Han Xiao away. She chuckled and said, that won't happen. He can't wait to marry me off. A while back at Luohe, I overheard some rumors. He secretly asked Han Xiao to find me a good husband. Han Xiao thought about it and confirmed that it was true. A call of master broke the silence between the two. Qianye took Shen Changjun's slender hand and pulled her into his embrace. This sight made Han Xiao flare up with irritation. Their eyes met. With the most affectionate tone, Qianye spoke the most devoted words. Don't always keep talking to this man. Am I not more handsome than him? Before Shen Changjun could even react, Qianye picked her up in a princess carry and leapt down from the city wall. He completely ignored Emperor Han Xiao's presence, holding Shen Changjun tight. I have something important to tell you. Something meant for your ears only. Han Xiao watched the two of them fly away, wearing a meaningful smile. The night was as beautiful as a painting. The beauty entered the bedchamber. Qianye gently placed Shen Changjun onto the bed. Shen Changjun did not understand what he was up to, and simply called out, Yi, what were you about to say? Qianye covered Shen Changjun's mouth, and lightly tilted her chin up. Shen Changjun did not pull away, but subconsciously lifted her face slightly. On her face there slowly appeared a faint rosy blush. In the next second, their lips slowly drew closer. Suddenly, there was a loud thud. Qianye slammed his own head against the wall. Shen Changjun was startled, asking Yi what on earth was wrong. Qianye pointed angrily at his inner demon. Are you crazy? What do you want to do to my master? With my body, I could not stand watching anymore. This is what your subconscious truly desires. Are you not aware of your own feelings for her? In an instant, Qianye's face wore a wicked smirk. Master, the wedding night is short. I have been waiting for this moment for a long time. Ah, what are you doing? No, what am I doing? Master, do you know how much I miss you every second you are away? I do not want to leave your side for even a moment. Qianye had completely lost control of his body. He could only cover his face and cry out, please stop. Shen Changjun gently caressed his face. Easy, are you feeling unwell? Those do not sound like things you would say. Qianye looked at Shen Changjun in disbelief. He asked, why? Why, master, why do you think these are not words your disciple would say? I know you respect me as your master, but right now, Shen Changjun recalled the days and nights spent with Qianye. She remembered the letter he had left for her, and thought of his unusual behavior lately. She said softly, that is because your heart is no longer at Juha sect. It is no longer with me. Next, she lightly touched the spot over Qianye's heart. Perhaps he has never truly opened up to me. Hearing this, Qianye's expression grew anxious. He quickly replied, it is not like that. Those words are exactly what I wanted to say most. They are what I desire to tell you from the bottom of my heart. The flowers on the back mountain of Jinyan Peak are more beautiful than those in the mortal world. For the rest of my life, year after year, from dusk till dawn, Qianye slowly took Shen Changjun's hand. He said affectionately, I want to watch those flowers with you, and never be apart. His heart was in immense pain. "It is not like that, master." Seeing this, Shen Changjun, gently and with a look of pure heartache, she caressed Qianye's face. She wiped away his tears. In the next second, Qianye caught his master's delicate hand. He gazed at her with deep affection and said, "My heart has belonged to you for a long time now. My feelings for you are sincere. You should not say such things to me." Hearing this, Shen Changjun slowly stood up. She leaned in and pulled Qianye into a hug. She whispered tenderly into his ear, Yi, I believe you." From beginning to end, Shen Changjun's feelings for him were also genuine. She stroked his long hair, while coaxing Qianye gently. "You have always been your master's precious one. Master won't overthink things anymore, okay, good boy." After a moment, Shen Changjun caressed Qianye's cheek. With a sweet smile, she told him it was getting late. "Why did not you head back to your room and get some rest?" Unexpectedly, Qianye stubbornly shook his head. Shen Changjun leaned close to his ear, her eyes full of love, and whispered shyly, "Then, how about staying here tonight and sleeping with master?" Hearing those words, Qianye's spirits instantly lifted. Like an affectionate puppy, he nuzzled against Shen Changjun's face. He looked up and acted spoiled, begging her to say those words one more time. Seeing this situation, Shen Changjun tried to recall what she had just said. Which sentence was it, exactly? Looking at the adorable, clinging Qianye, she blurted out, "You really are master's favorite little baby." Qianye froze instantly, turned to stone. He felt like all his progress had just reset to zero. Why did he feel like he was being treated like a child? Again, a moment later, he cleared his throat several times. He put on a serious face and said to Shen Changjun, "Let us end it here for tonight. There are other things I will tell you slowly in the future." He then left Shen Changjun's room. Shen Changjun watched his departing figure with a look of reluctance. With a sweet expression, she silently acknowledged their relationship. Afterwards, Qianye returned to his own room. He closed the door behind him. In the next second, the Nanon wood spirit flew out from his body. It said with great smugness, "Mission accomplished. No need to thank this old man too much." Little did it know, Qianye would grab it firmly in his hand the very next second. Helpless, it transformed into its human form. It struggled and questioned Qianye. "You clearly have feelings for her, yet you refuse to acknowledge your own heart. Do you really want to wait until you lose her to regret it when it is too late?" Qianye said with a rogue-like smirk. "So, am I supposed to thank you then, for controlling my body, and using all that touching and hugging to express my feelings for me?" However, this time, the little wood spirit really did help him voice his feelings. He had finally realized his true heart. Looking at the blushing Qianye, the Nanon wood spirit leaned on his shoulder with a sly grin and said, "Oh-ho, kid, are you finally admitting you like your master?" Unexpectedly, it was given a good thrashing by Qianye. He warned it not to rush things. He was afraid of scaring his master off, which would just mess everything up. He looked at the vines outside the window and laughed playfully. Wei Shengru saw her kin for the first time in years. With immense warmth, she called out her family members' names. With eyes full of tears, Wei Shengru threw herself toward her parents. All her longing poured out at this very moment. "It has been 4 years. Your daughter missed you both so much." Shen Changming, who had accompanied Wei Shengru home, watched this heartwarming scene with a smile. But at this moment, he felt like a bit of a third wheel. Even the servants were whispering about him. "This guy looks like the servant the young mistress bought for 20 taels of silver." Since Shen Changming could not reveal his status as a sect leader, he could only choose not to argue with these mortals. Her father and mother had prepared for Wei Shengru a table full of family feast. Wei Shengru began devouring the food like a hungry wolf. Her ladylike image completely vanished into thin air. Her shocked parents asked her, "Is Juha sect really not feeding you enough? How could one be so starved like this?" But how could they possibly know? His master, Shen Changming, usually poisons every single meal served to him. He can only eat after he has neutralized the toxins himself. He has not tasted such delicious food in 4 years. Of course, he has to have a few more bites. At this moment, the relatives and servants began to gossip. "I heard that the sect leader of Juha Zong is absolutely terrifying. Rumor has it he looks like a total monster. His methods are ruthless and cold-blooded. In the cultivation world, he is basically the ultimate tyrant. They say even babies stop crying in fear the moment they hear his name." The parents also asked Wei Shengru anxiously, "With a master like that, aren't you living in a total nightmare every day?" Hearing this, Shen Changming simply curled his lips into a smirk. He wanted to hear what Wei Shengru would say. Wei Shengru was momentarily stunned. She slowly set down her bowl and chopsticks. A second later, she burst out laughing. "How could that be? My master is the best master in the entire world." The parents were skeptical. With a smile on her face, Wei Shengru reaffirmed what she had just said. Shen Changming was also a bit surprised. He did not expect Wei Shengru to think so highly of him. Wei Shengru continued to tell her parents, "Master is a very gentle person. He is actually incredibly caring, and he looks after me very well. Master is the strongest cultivator on the northern barbarian continent. He is the idol of countless people. Whenever I am in danger, Master always shows up at the very first moment. As long as he is around, I feel completely at ease. Master is handsome, a great cook, and has always been silently looking out for me. He holds a high position and carries many heavy responsibilities on his shoulders. Over the years, I have learned so much from him. I also hope I can grow up quickly, so I can help share his burden sooner. In short, meeting him is the greatest luck of my life. Hearing these words, Shen Changjun walked away with a smile. Seeing the incredibly genuine smile on Wei Shengru's face, the parents finally began to relax. Then Wei Shengru mischievously told her father, "The servant I brought along loves spicy food. Help me prepare a super spicy meal for him. Ideally, make it so you can't even see the chili peppers. I want to give him a little surprise." This surprise turned out to be quite intense. Even with his high cultivation, Shen Changjun could not handle it. On the other side, a subordinate asked the emperor if he would really fulfill his promise to spare the Weisheng clan. The emperor's lips curled up. He simply said, "Who knows?" Then he continued to question the subordinate. "Did you guys lose track of Qianye?" The subordinate could only answer truthfully. The tracking mission was going smoothly, but today Qianye suddenly vanished into thin air. Currently, there is no trace of Qianye to be found in the entire city. Meanwhile, inside the Imperial Treasure Pavilion, a person was muttering to himself. In the previous life, no one knew the true identity of the one who stole the 5 elements artifacts. Because he possessed the Yangguo Palace's artifact, Ziyushin can mask one's appearance and spiritual signatures. But this time, that mysterious person does not have that artifact. He will definitely have to fight the others. That is when his true identity will be revealed. Outside the Yangguo Imperial Hall, the emperor was admiring the falling flower petals. This is the spectacle the emperor specially prepared for the upcoming Biwang Grand Ceremony. A shower of fresh flowers over the city. For 1,000 years, the forces of the Biwang continent have been scattered. The emperor's goal is to win over the entire Biwang cultivation world and unify the Biwang continent. At this moment, a minister reports to the emperor. Changjun Zhenren has entered the palace as ordered. Just as the emperor is about to ask where Shen Changjun is, a crimson treasure sword suddenly descends from the sky, piercing the ground less than 3 feet in front of him. If the emperor had not dodged in a hurry, he would have lost his life right here, long before the unification of the continent. Then Shen Changjun lands gracefully in her purple robes. She slowly pulls out the sword, apologizing to the emperor with a look of feigned innocence. "I am so incredibly sorry. I was flying too fast and could not hit the brakes. My bad." The emperor glares at her with wide eyes, pointing at Shen Changjun and shouting, "You are doing this on purpose to test me." Shen Changjun, however, remains completely unfazed. "It is not like it is the first time anyway. Why the shock? Be a good boy. You can't beat me in a fight anyway. So all you can do is stay mad. If you get so angry that you drop dead, the mortal realm will fall into utter chaos." At that moment, Shen Changjun suddenly spots dozens of cultivators flying over the palace on their swords. The emperor laughs loudly and says to Shen Changjun, "Ever since you and Shen Changming agreed to stay in the mortal realm, all the cultivation sects believe your Juha sect is on good terms with me. I am just using you. I do not actually like you at all." Shen Changjun looks at the childish emperor, wondering if she misheard him. With a face full of disdain, she says indifferently, "I could not care less whether you like me or not. I am not into the overbearing CEO type like you. I prefer men who are gentle and affectionate. Ideally, the kind who can cook, is obedient, and stays faithful. If he could arrive at my side on a white horse, treading on flowers and auspicious 7-colored clouds, that would be even better." The emperor looks at Shen Changjun's fangirl-like expression and is left speechless. He turns to look at the ministers behind him. Could it be that this is exactly the type she likes? Shen Changjun also starts to feel puzzled. In the previous life, Qianye was clearly an overbearing CEO type. But after being together for so many years in this life, why is he becoming more and more like my ideal type? How could I have such wicked thoughts? What a beast I am. This totally violates teacher-student ethics. Suddenly, a violent explosion sounds from the other side of the palace. The emperor is startled. That is the direction of the treasure pavilion. Something happened at the treasure pavilion. Shen Changjun reacts immediately. Could someone be trying to steal the water spirit artifact? She hurriedly rushes over to check the situation. Meanwhile, inside the treasure pavilion, Du Mingyue sits there with a wicked, demonic smirk. In his hands, he holds the water spirit artifact. He then slowly takes out the fire spirit artifact he stole last time. Although both the water and fire artifacts are now in his possession, the various sects have already increased their guard. Moreover, Shen Changjun has broken through to the nascent soul stage. Without the Ziyushin, his identity might be exposed. But with no other options right now, Du Mingyue can only put those worries aside for now, to make this water spirit artifact disappear in broad broad daylight. He still needs to wait for the right moment. The Biwang Grand Ceremony will be the perfect opportunity. At this time, the one controlling Du Mingyu's body is not actually himself. He murmurs to himself, contemplating about Du Mingyue. You have not even noticed it yourself. Every time your Zen heart wavered over these past few years, it was always because of that woman. When will I be able to fully take over this body? At that moment, Shen Changjun arrived at the treasure pavilion. Seeing a man dressed in white, she immediately channeled her cultivation and struck him with a powerful palm. But the man merely took a step back, effortlessly neutralizing Shen Changjun's full-strength strike. Shen Changjun did not seem too bothered, playfully teasing, "Oh, you actually have some skills. But no matter who you are staying here today." Shen Changjun failed to recognize who the man was, and immediately engaged him in combat. To her surprise, the man in white refused to stay entangled with her. He took flight, focusing solely on escaping. Shen Changjun drew her sword and gave chase relentlessly, chasing him into mid-air. She saw a white horse with wings, pulling a prismatic floral carriage. That was the Dharma tool the Emperor of Yangguo used for the flowers reigning over the city spectacle. The man stopped in his tracks. Seeing this, Shen Changjun summoned her sword and lunged, but the man had no intention of fighting back at all. He simply kept dodging Shen Changjun's attacks. Just then, Shen Changjun spotted an opening and landed a palm strike, hitting the man squarely in the chest. The man was sent flying, crashing into the floral carriage. He was badly injured, with blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Shen Changjun rushed over, demanding to know who he really was, and why he only dodged instead of counterattacking. The man remained silent. Shen Changjun lunged with her sword again. Seeing this, the man hurriedly used the Ziyushan artifact to block her. However, their fight caused the carriage's core spiritual power system to overload. It was right on the verge of exploding. It is going to blow any second. Shen Changjun and the man looked at the imminent explosion in shock. In the nick of time, the man suddenly grabbed Shen Changjun's incoming blade with his bare hand. He pulled her in front of him to shield her, then gathered her into his embrace. He quickly pushed Shen Changjun away. Because of the Ziyushan's effect, Shen Changjun had no idea that this man was actually her own disciple, Zhu Qianye. Protecting Shen Changjun just now was a subconscious reaction from Zhu Qianye. At this moment, Zhu Qianye finally understood how Shen Changjun felt when she protected him. As long as it is you, even if I have to risk my life, I will protect you. Back then in the Yaoyue forest, Master protected me just like this. In the Luo He secret realm, Master still guarded me with her life. So this time, Master, it is my turn to protect you. Shen Changjun still had not processed why the man would do such a thing, but there was no time for questions. The flash of the explosion had already engulfed the man. Falling to the ground, countless petals rained down after the carriage exploded. The floral shower was even more spectacular than the original festival. Shen Changjun reached out to catch a petal, only to find that on that petal, it was stained with the blood of the man in white. Walking through the city, Shen Changjun could not stop wondering why that strange man would go to such lengths. Suddenly, Zhu Qianye's voice came from behind her. Seeing her dear little Yi, Shen Changjun immediately threw all her worries to the back of her mind. Zhu Qianye gently helped Shen Changjun tidy up her messy clothes. Shen Changjun asked him where he had been all day, but Zhu Qianye did not answer. He simply said he had something to tell her after the Biwang Grand Ceremony. The two of them walked on, smiling in each other's company, but Shen Changjun failed to see the bloodstains on Zhu Qianye's hands. The flowers behind have already been dyed a vivid red. Meanwhile, inside the Imperial Palace's main hall, a subordinate presents a bag of gold. He says a mysterious man wants to compensate for His Majesty's losses. Confused, the Emperor asks what losses of mine is he paying for. The subordinate stammers for a long time, before finally reporting, Your Majesty. That person said it was... The Emperor remains speechless for a moment, wondering if he has offended too many people lately. Just then, an urgent report suddenly arrives. People from the Southern Barbarian Sacred Temple have made a surprise visit. Word is, it is about the political marriage alliance. Since the princess failed to depart for the Southern Barbarian continent on time, the Saintess is absolutely furious. There is no longer a need to endure like the past 1,000 years, sending daughters away for marriage alliances. Hearing this, the personal servant immediately kneels and pleads, Your Majesty, the Southern Barbarian Saintess is the strongest in the world. Please reconsider. Her Highness the Princess, she. Before he can finish his sentence, the Emperor opens a birdcage and says, Fine, let her go. A sovereign should be ready to die for the state. Currently, Undercurrents are surging in this situation. If a catastrophe should suddenly strike one day, as her brother, I must at least be the one to die before she does. Meanwhile, Her Highness the Princess arrives at a fabric shop. Seeing the heroine outfit in the shopkeeper's hands, her eyes light up instantly. Following that, she lets out an impressed wow. Then, holding the heroine outfit, she walks out of the shop and shouts excitedly, "From this day forward, I can finally fight for justice and roam the martial world." As the saying goes, one person's joy is another's sorrow. Shen Changjun is currently in her room, reading a book with a stern expression. Just then, a red sprite beside her asks, "I heard that tomorrow you will be the high priestess, presiding over this year's Biwang Dadian." Shen Changjun indicates she is currently under massive pressure. Seeing this, the sprite comforts her. It is called being a high priestess, but honestly, you just present the offerings on the high platform for a quick show, and then take them down. That is it. At this moment they still do not know that Qianye is observing them from a large tree outside. He is seen muttering to himself, "Master." Once the Biwang Dadian concludes safely, before he can finish his thought, he is interrupted by the purple sprite nearby. It says to Qianye, "Don't say things like that. 80% of the time, this will end in tragedy. Maybe after tomorrow, you will never see her again." Hearing this, a hint of coldness flashes in Qianye's eyes. If looks could kill, the purple sprite would have died hundreds of times over, unaware that it has misspoken. It yawns and continues, "Don't ask me why. I just have this ominous sense of déjà vu. It feels like I have encountered this exact situation before." The next second, the purple sprite is on the ground under the tree, with 3 large bumps swollen on its head. Soon, the day of the Biwang Dadian arrives. As Shen Changjun walks toward the high platform, she thinks, in the original book, this was the beginning of everything. The Biwang Dadian is finally being held. It is the grandest festival of the Biwang continent, to pray for blessings from the gods, and to boost the people's morale. Supposedly, the higher the grade of the offerings, the more likely the prayers will be granted. Even so, this life is already completely different from the last. After Shen Changjun ascended the high platform, she turned to Shen Changming, who was sitting nearby, and said with a smile, "Relax, brother. I will give it my best shot." Hearing this, a smile flickered across Shen Changming's face. Once Shen Changjun summoned the Shuling Shenqi, the powerful spiritual energy it unleashed forced even Shen Changjun to raise her hand to shield herself. She could not help but mutter to herself, "How strange. I have never seen the Shuling Shenqi fluctuate like this before. Is it because of me?" Well, since that is the case, this is actually the perfect opportunity. Ever since I arrived at the Yangguo Imperial City, I have been wanting to peek into the future of a certain matter. With that, Shen Changjun reached out to touch the Shuling Shenqi, asking it if in this lifetime, the Weisheng family would suffer the same tragic fate once again. In the next second, Shen Changjun was horrified by the vision projected by the Shuling Shenqi. She saw the Weisheng manor engulfed in raging flames. Everyone had already been brutally murdered. It was clearly a calculated move to destroy all evidence. Her pupils slowly dilated in shock. Suddenly, a golden object appeared. Swoosh. It turned out to be a golden sword striking at the Weisheng family. Following that, sparks flew everywhere. Within the mirror-like vision, Shen Changjun clutched her head, feeling utterly helpless. Suddenly, a voice echoed, "Your soul is a mixture of 4 lifetimes. You do not entirely belong to this world. Therefore, you are not bound by its constraints." Thinking back, Shen Changjun had been constantly flipping through the secret scrolls of the artifacts, reading them day and night. She read so much that even the artifact spirit began to grumble. "Since you came to Yangguo, you have been scouring these books for a whole month. What on earth are you looking for?" Looking for a bug, Shen Changjun thought as she leapt high into the air. The spirit's voice echoed once more, "I am willing to acknowledge you as master and follow your lead." Shen Changjun then looked at the Shuling Shenqi and said, "Now tell me, what is the future of the Weisheng family in this life?" Meanwhile, elsewhere amidst a rain of swords and blades, Shen Changming used his folding fan to block a powerful blow. "Who dares trespass? I, Shen Changming, will protect the Weisheng family at all costs." The mysterious figure withdrew their weapon, refusing to linger in the fight. "That is it. You are running away already." Before he could even process the situation, Weisheng Ru suddenly threw herself into Shen Changming's arms. Trapped in the previous scene, Weisheng Ru still had not snapped out of it. She was trembling uncontrollably. "What are you afraid of? Didn't you say you knew I would always be watching over you?" Shen Changming was still puzzled. That person's strength was actually on par with mine. When did the Biwang continent get such a powerhouse? Crap, it was a feint. Elsewhere in the Great Hall, golden light blazed. In the blink of an eye, 10,000 arrows were unleashed, taking out the soldiers. This is the world's strongest individual. The southern barbarian saintess spoke coldly. The artifact recognizing a master is a good thing. Bring him and follow me. You shall become the next saintess. Her tone carried an unquestionable authority. Hearing this, the cultivators behind Shen Changjun all stepped forward to offer their help. Let us lend Changjun Zhenren a hand. Two sharp weapons clashed, emitting a piercing metallic ring. The southern barbarian saintess gave a contemptuous smile. Instantly, Shen Changjun's weapon shattered like glass. At the same time, the sword's blast sent Shen Changjun flying several meters back. Just as she was about to hit the ground, a white Pegasus caught Changjun Zhenren. Simultaneously, a thunderous roar echoed through the sky. As the saintess, she had already sensed something was wrong, and assumed a defensive stance. Purple tentacles slowly drew near, and in an instant, they tied the saintess up securely. How could such a hidden powerhouse exist in the Biwang continent? Well, I do not even need to say it. Everyone watching behind the screen knows exactly who has arrived, right? Behold, this handsome and elegant man is none other than Qianye Laozu in his badass forbidden technique state. I do not belong to the Biwang continent, nor do I belong to any sect or force. I simply wish to kill you, plain and simple. The saintess is shocked by his words. How dare he treat the southern barbarian saintess like a nobody? He is basically asking for a death sentence. Fuming with rage, the saintess lunges with her weapon. Who would have thought Qianye Laozu would just catch it with a light touch? Snap. Using someone else's weapon to take them down. Now that is a pro-gamer move only Qianye Laozu can pull off. The southern barbarian saintess's pupils dilate in terror. Disbelief is written all over her face. The gap in their power is actually this massive. There is no longer a need for the Saint Hall to exist. And I suppose that means the saintess is fired too. With that, Qianye Laozu strikes once more. To his surprise, the saintess's body begins to fade away, as she bursts into a manic laughter. Ha ha ha, very well. I will remember you. Caressing Qianye Laozu's face, the saintess whispers, we shall meet again. In the next second, she shatters like glass. Qianye Laozu gazes at the fragmented shards. So, it was just a clone after all. The time limit on my forbidden technique is almost up. As he looks down toward the ground, sure enough, Shen Changjun is staring right back at him. Their eyes meet. Shen Changjun is curious it was this man who saved her again. In the next moment, Qianye Laozu realizes he should not linger. Looking at the broken Qianye, Shen Changjun is heartbroken. Just then, a sneak attack from behind, what a perfect chance for the enemy. Not only did they easily snatch the Shuling Shenchi, but the experts from the major sects are also severely injured. There is not a single formidable one left. Might as well take them all out while we are at it. Suddenly, a darkened Du Mingyue clutches his head. Waves of dizziness hit him like a bad hangover. It turns out the real Du Mingyue is chanting the name of Buddha. Du Mingyue, does your consciousness really think it can interfere with me? Sooner or later, I will definitely corrupt your Buddha heart. At this moment, Shen Changjun manifests an arrow from her spiritual power. She lands a direct hit on the heart of the corrupted Du Mingyue. Howling in pain, the dark Du Mingyue quickly flees the scene. Heal them Yaozong, hurry up, the artifact is gone. Biwang just lost 2 great artifacts and offended the southern barbarian Saint Hall. Hurry Yaozong, we need medical attention. The crowd, never missing a chance to spill the tea, starts roasting the situation. Shen Changjun is now completely drained of energy. Her body collapses involuntarily. A pair of hands catches Shen Changjun. It turns out to be the brother and sister duo. Seeing the two of them arrive, Shen Changjun can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Even while dragging her exhausted body, she does not forget to worry about where her little Yaya has gone. 1 month later, Shen Changjun finally wakes up. She learns the news from Shen Changming. From Shen Changming's words, she finds out that her Yaya has been missing ever since the Biwang Dadian. There has not been a single trace of him. Shen Changming adds, on the first night you were unconscious, I found this letter left by your pillow, along with the fully repaired Qianye. He also mentions that while she was out, many things have happened in the Biwang continent. Remember that powerhouse at the Biwang Dadian, who stepped in to repel the saintness? He goes by the alias Yin. After the ceremony ended, he appeared at the southern barbarian Saint Hall, attacking the entire place. For over 100 years, no one has ever dared to challenge the dignity of the Saint Hall like that. Since the saintess was away at the time, the Saint Hall was caught off guard and suffered a massive blow to its power. In just 2 short days, this person has become the talk of the Northern Barbarian Grand Ceremony. They have reached the absolute ceiling of combat power within the Southern Barbarian Saintess's temple, because this person wields the Ziyushan artifact. No one knows their true face or their background. Consequently, no one knows the motive behind their actions. At this moment, Qianye removes the Ziyushan, using it twice in a row. I do not know how much of a spiritual backlash this will trigger. Master, you are the the only one who can utilize the Shuling Shenqi until I recover all 5 elemental artifacts and completely suppress the threat of the Saintess's temple. Both Master and all living souls will be in grave danger. I hope we meet again, Shen Changjun. Meanwhile, when Weisheng Ru learned that Shen Changjun had regained consciousness, she had already gone into secluded cultivation. Failing to see Changjun Zhenren's face even once, she felt a pang of bitter disappointment. Fortunately, Shen Changming is quite the smooth talker. He managed to coax Weisheng Ru until she was completely dazed. Both of them are well aware of their respective missions. At the same time, Han Shao received a token from his sister. Learning that his sister was to be married off to a distant land, he felt a sour lump in his throat. Holy monk, do you truly intend to depart all by yourself? To hunt down the villain who stole the divine artifact? That person in the red mist is incredibly powerful. It is extremely dangerous. My mind is made up. There is no need for further persuasion. Du Mingyue will surely bring that person in the red mist to justice and retrieve the 2 great artifacts. At this moment, Du Mingyue thought to himself, Changjun Zhenren, if you were here. Single quote, you certainly would not stop me, because if you were in my shoes, you would do the exact same thing, would not you? Everyone offers their congratulations as Changjun Zhenren finishes her cultivation. Shen Changjun is eager to get down to business. I heard there is a lead on the Mulling Shenqi. I have already secured my brother's permission. This time, I will be handling this trip personally. By the way, is the lead reliable? The sect disciple rolled his eyes slightly. The information was brought by this gentleman here. Seeing the person, Shen Changjun could not help but widen her eyes. You are... Single quote, so it is you. The man performed a one-handed Buddhist salute. There is a single red dot between his brows, and he now sports a full head of smooth flowing hair. I bet my friends in the audience have already guessed who he is. He is indeed Du Mingyue. Yes, that very same monk. It has only been a year. How did you end up looking like this? It is merely a disguise technique. I have traveled far and wide this past year. I had to remain incognito to avoid unnecessary trouble. The narrator thinks that if people knew he was a monk, he would not be able to feast on meat or flirt with ladies so easily. But back to the point. On the way, Shen Changjun asked Du Mingyue about the past year, specifically what had transpired in the outside world while she was away. Turns out, a year ago, since the Saintess's temple suffered that massive attack, their vital energy was severely depleted. The originally tense situation has temporarily eased up. As a result, Princess Han Xiaoxiao, who was prepared for a political marriage, no longer needs to go through with it. However, since then, her whereabouts have become a mystery. She has vanished without a trace. At the border between the southern and northern continents, there is a lawless land filled with slaughter. A lawless land where blood and violence are the only rules. It is known as the Land of Chaos, commonly referred to as the Land of Chaos. 1,000 years ago, this very place was the heart of a civilization. It was once the site of the Southern Barbarian Dynasty's imperial city, the former capital of the Southern Barbarian Empire. But prosperity is fleeting. The scenery remains while the people have changed. The previous hidden master of the Land of Chaos had obtained the key to unlock the Mulling Shenqi, but it did not take long for the leadership to change hands. Word is, a mysterious figure has become the new overlord of the Land of Chaos. Arriving at the lawless lands, the two of them looked at the miserable scenes on the streets and could not help but let out a heavy sigh. Wait, what is that up ahead? 3 pedestrians appeared, clad in white robes with white cloth covering their heads. In the next second, Shen Changjun grabbed Du Mingyu's hand and pulled off a classic wall slam move. This move sent Du Mingyu's hormones skyrocketing instantly. Du Mingyue, why are you spacing out? I was just thinking. This year's snow seems more beautiful than usual. Ha ha ha. Aren't you monks supposed to be free from worldly desires? Or has my beauty finally blinded you? Perhaps it is you who has disturbed my heart. Once the 3 figures in white passed by, the two wasted no time and moved on. They quickly reached the residence of the master of the lawless lands. The moment they set foot inside, 4 assassins suddenly surrounded them. It seems the enemy was well prepared. At that moment, a familiar voice rang out. I have been waiting for you for a long time. It has been a year. Shen Changjun. I won't bother with a long introduction for this guy, right? Shen Changjun turned her head and squinted. So it is you. There is no mistake. I am very familiar with this voice and his magical attributes. This is the effect of the cloud veiling technique. He is the one who defeated the Saintess. Is he the new master behind the scenes? The two stood in a tense standoff. The next second, Shen Changjun drew her Hankyu sword with a flourish. Yet she replied with total nonchalance. That is the legendary Yin. He is at the peak of the spirit severing stage. A powerhouse just half a step away from godhood. He could snap his fingers and one-shot me 100 times. If I do not surrender immediately, do you want me to just deliver my head on a silver platter? Sometimes, knowing when to fold is a form of courage. Du Mingyue recalled how Shen Changjun looked when she knew when to fold. You call that folding gracefully. It felt more like you were about to kneel and lick Yin's boots. Luckily, Qianye had prepared a delicious meal for her. Shen Changjun picked up her bowl and started feasting like there was no tomorrow. Meanwhile, Du Mingyue asked what her next move was. Are we really giving up on the wood spirit artifact key and just bailing? Full and satisfied, Shen Changjun put down her chopsticks. She stood up with a mischievous look in her eyes. She reached out her wicked claws toward Du Mingyue. It was not until her hands began to glow with magical fluctuations that Du Mingyue realized Shen Changjun was launching a sneak attack. However, it was already too late to resist. Du Mingyue was tied up tightly by Shen Changjun. Like a bossy CEO, she flirtatiously touched his chin and said, "Oh, holy monk, how could you be so defenseless against me? Since we can't beat that guy in a fair fight, I will just have to resort to a backstab." Shen Changjun intended to take the risk alone. She did not want Du Mingyue to throw his life away too. Talking about plans, my plan is to be a well-fed ghost, even if I have to die alone. With that said, Shen Changjun used a teleportation spell and vanished from the room. The bound Du Mingyue gritted his teeth in silence. If you do not return, Changjun Zhenren, then I will spend my entire life's energy to make Yin pay. Du Mingyue suddenly realized that as a man of the Buddhist faith, he had actually harbored a murderous intent. On the other side, Shen Changjun had searched the entire mansion but could not find the key. The only place left to check was Yin's own room. Shen Changjun sneaked into Yin's room, only to find him sitting in deep meditation. In reality, Qianye had already sensed his master's arrival. However, due to the backlash from a forbidden technique used earlier, one wrong move could lead to a cultivation deviation. So for now, he could not move or lose focus. Let us just see what kind of performance Shen Changjun puts on. Shen Changjun saw that Yin was in a deep trance, and guessed he was in the middle of a secluded recovery session. He definitely can't move right now. In that case, taking advantage of this chance, can I finally see what he really looks like? However, Shen Changjun recalled how he had protected her in front of the carriage that day, and how he had also come to her aid during the Northern Wilderness Grand Ceremony. She withdrew her hand. After all, kicking a man while he is down is not exactly Shen Changjun's style. Well, since he is still busy meditating to adjust his breath, I would better find the key and get the heck out of here. But after turning the whole room upside down, there was still no sign of the key. Suddenly, a light bulb went off in Shen Changjun's head. Wait, there is still one place I have not checked. Shen Changjun immediately thrust her hand into Yin's robes. She carefully felt him up from top to bottom. Qianye, however, was reaching his breaking point. His face turned beet red from Shen Changjun's wandering hands. He felt it would be better to just tell her where the key was and be done with it. And this time, Shen Changjun finally hit the jackpot. It must be inside this storage pouch. But before she could even celebrate, for a second, a powerful, overwhelming pressure suddenly erupted from behind her. Qianye snapped his eyes open. Shen Changjun broke into a cold sweat, scared out of her wits. Her face turned pale with fright. The next second, Shen Changjun was so terrified that the world seemed to lose all color. Holy crap, he is actually awake. Since when has he been awake? The next moment, Shen Changjun's hands shook as she presented the storage pouch. She looked at Yin with a face full of awkwardness. She babbled incoherently, trying to break the tension. But in reality, she was scared to death. If this guy makes a move, I am history in an instant. To her surprise, seeing her expression, Yin actually let out a chuckle. But that laugh only made Shen Changjun sweat harder. A million thoughts raced through her mind at once. Du Mingyue, run for your life. Remember to hide it from Yi. I must let them know. Remember, oh. Do not let him find out. Remember to hide it. Do not let them know. Tell Yi and Ruru. Let them know about my death. Ruru. News of my death. The look in his eyes when he smiles is absolutely terrifying. However, Yin did not make any hostile move. Instead, he reached out and opened the storage pouch. He said to Shen Changjun, "The keys to activate the wood spirit divine artifact are actually the betrothal gifts and dowry from the union of the northern and southern continents 1,000 years ago. They are a pair of rings, named Bi Nio and Lin Li Ji. They are top-tier spiritual artifacts. Even if not used as keys, they have the effect of boosting one's magical power." Hearing Yin tell her all this, Shen Changjun felt even more panicked. Is he trying to give me a proper explanation before he kills me? While speaking, Yin placed the ring named Bi Nio onto his own hand. Then he told Shen Changjun to return to Juhazong with Du Mingyue tomorrow. But suddenly, the two of them felt an incredibly powerful, murderous intent coming from outside. A golden light descended from above, heading straight for the room. The intruder was none other than the southern barbarian saintess, dressed in tight-fitting gear. Shen Changjun rushed out of the room. But who would have thought that the moment the saintess saw Shen Changjun, she immediately unleashed her artifact and hurled it at her. Before Shen Changjun could even react, the artifact pierced through Yin's body. That is right. The moment Qianye saw his master in danger, he once again stepped forward to stand in front of her. He blocked that fatal blow for Shen Changjun. This scene felt hauntingly familiar. 5 years ago in the Yaoyue forest, Shen Changjun had stood in front of Qianye just like this, blocking a fatal blow for him. Qianye spat out fresh blood. He only managed to say one word to Shen Changjun, "Run." Then he lost consciousness and collapsed. Shen Changjun hurriedly caught the falling Yin. She wondered how someone in the spirit-severing stage could become so weak. Could it be that my interference just now caused him to suffer a cultivation deviation? Meanwhile, the southern barbarian saintess looked at the Ziyushan mask on Yin's face. She was reminded of a certain person. She felt lucky that her harvest this time was truly significant. Shen Changjun held Yin, whose breath was already as faint as a gossamer thread, thinking that this was the third time he had saved her, and the second time the southern barbarian saintess had tried to wipe her out. Shen Changjun felt a surge of ruthless determination. She looked up at the southern barbarian saintess and said, "I, Shen Changjun, swear an oath. From this day forth it is a fight to the death between us." But the southern barbarian saintess remained utterly unfazed. With Shen Changjun's cultivation only at the nascent soul stage, how could she possibly match a deity transformation expert like herself? Yet Shen Changjun suddenly smirked. It is not decided yet who is going to bite the dust today. Shen Changjun pulled another ring out of her storage bag and slid it onto her finger. The next second, an infinite surge of spiritual power erupted from within her body. It seemed the ring truly could massively boost one's magical power. The saintess grew intrigued seeing Shen Changjun's power spike. Crushing an ant while it is full of hope might be even more fun, after all. She looked down and told Shen Changjun, "I shall give you a 3-move handicap." Hearing this, Shen Changjun did not stand on ceremony. She immediately began forming hand seals. But what she unleashed was her most practiced skill, teleportation. With a whoosh, she vanished from the spot, taking Qianye with her. This move left the saintess, who was ready for battle, stunned mid-air. What happened to the epic showdown? Why did she just run away? Did I just get played? While the southern barbarian saintess was hunting for Shen Changjun, Yin had risked his life to block a fatal blow for Shen Changjun, and had to disappear as a last resort. Shen Changjun had no choice but to take Yin and flee using teleportation. Feeling humiliated and toyed with, the southern barbarian saintess immediately ordered a carpet search throughout the lawless lands. She would turn every stone to find Shen Changjun. Meanwhile, Du Mingyue, who had just managed to escape, was staring intensely at a letter in his hand, lost in thought. This was the letter Du Mingyue found in the room where Yin had been confined. The envelope was addressed to be opened by Changjun Zhenren and the holy monk. It seemed Yin had done this on purpose. The contents of the letter shocked Du Mingyue even more. It recorded the history of the lawless lands, listing every hidden master behind the scenes, all human trafficking, and a detailed ledger of all filthy transactions. Du Mingyue grew more and more puzzled. What exactly was Yin's intention in doing this? Furthermore, Yin explained in the letter that the lawless lands did not need a temporary crackdown by the cultivation world's forces, but rather the establishment of mortal laws and regulations. Du Mingyue thought that with this information, if he could personally deliver it to His Majesty, perhaps he could end 1,000 years of evil in the lawless lands. But then, Du Mingyue's brow suddenly furrowed. He remembered Shen Changjun was currently in grave danger. If he headed to the Yongguo Palace right now, would not Shen Changjun be left isolated and without help? In that instant, Du Mingyue had a sudden realization. How could he compare the lives of millions to just one woman? How did he end up like this? When exactly did this obsession take root in his heart? It is truly strange. This year's snow seems even colder than in previous years. Elsewhere, Shen Changjun had taken Yin and hidden inside a dilapidated shack. At this moment, Shen Changjun was actually raising her sword, aiming it right at her own finger. How did this ring get stuck on her hand? No matter what she did, it just would not come off. To make matters worse, why did she have to put it on her middle finger? This finger is reserved for an engagement ring. Suddenly, she heard the heavily injured Yin cough. She immediately rushed to Yin's side to check on his wounds. However, his condition did not seem to be improving. Shen Changjun noticed that although Yin's face was still obscured, his general physique and features were becoming clearer. It appeared that after Yin was severely injured, the shielding effect of the Ziyushan technique was gradually fading. If that was the case, then his injuries must be getting worse by the second. There was little hope of him healing on his own. Shen Changjun gritted her teeth. She prepared to strip off Yin's clothes to transfer her spiritual energy to him. What met her eyes was the robust and beautiful physique of a handsome man. Instantly, her lustful side took over, and she nearly drooled all over Yin's body. But then she remembered. She already owed Yin 3 lives. She finally managed to suppress her thirsty thoughts for a moment. Saving a life should be the priority right now. Immediately after, Shen Changjun began to sit in meditation to circulate her energy. However, every cultivator has a different constitution and cultivation technique. She did not know if her techniques would be compatible with Yin's, but at this point, she had to wing it and hope for a miracle. Using her own spiritual power as needles, she pierced them into his points one by one: the Shenting point, the Lianchuan point, the Xuanji point, the Fuzhou point, the Hook point, the Shenkei point, and finally, the last spot, the Dantian. After finishing the transfer, Shen Changjun let out a long breath, chanting Amitabha. While transferring power just now, this poor nun almost broke her vows. However, what made Shen Changjun even more curious was how Yin's body could be so perfectly in sync with her spiritual power. It was as if her power and his were a match made in heaven, perfectly complementary. At that moment, Yin slowly opened his eyes. Shen Changjun happily asked Yin how he was feeling. To her surprise, as soon as Yin saw her, he pushed her away. Clutching his chest, he said he was just a burden now, and told Shen Changjun to run for her life immediately. But Shen Changjun, with her domineering CEO attitude, was not having any of it. You can be soft when needed, but you have to be tough when it counts. Shen Changjun grabbed Yin by the shoulders, pinned him down onto the bed, and sat right on top of him. No, you better listen to me. When Yin's outer robe was removed, it revealed a fair and lean physique, with well-defined muscles and powerful sharp lines. Any female creature would feel her heart fluttering just by looking, not to mention Shen Changjun, who has a world-class fangirl constitution. Her face instantly turned bright red, and she began chanting the Great Compassion mantra to suppress her desires. The atmosphere suddenly became incredibly awkward. To break the ice, Shen Changjun took the initiative to ask Yin why he had saved her time and again. Yin simply replied, "I do not need a reason to save you. My master taught me that a cultivator should possess noble righteousness and save people in need." Shen Changjun was surprised that Yin actually had a master. She had always assumed Yin was a rogue cultivator, because she had never heard of a prominent clan named Yin in the cultivation world. Yin continued to explain that he indeed was not a rogue cultivator, but he had been alone since childhood, until one day he met. Before he could finish his sentence, Yin suddenly felt dizzy again, and collapsed forward. Shen Changjun quickly caught the fainting Yin, calling out his name loudly, telling him not to lose consciousness. Just then, noises came from outside the door. The attendants of the Saintess's palace had already searched their way here. However, those attendants outside were all knocked down by a folding fan that suddenly flew through the air. The one who struck was actually Shen Changming, who also brought his disciple, Wai Shengru. It turned out Du Mingyue had sent him a voice transmission, saying the entire Chaos Land was hunting for Shen Changjun. That is why Shen Changming rushed over in such a hurry to help. But after entering the room, they found no sign of Shen Changjun. The Saintess is guarding this place. Shen Changjun definitely would not be able to escape outward. Then she might have headed deeper into the Chaos Land. Wai Shengru asked her master what was deep inside the Chaos Land. Shen Changming said that ever since the grand political marriage between the northern and southern continents 1,000 years ago, that place had turned into a wasteland of dead silence. Furthermore, the barrier there is bizarre. To this day, no one has ever come out of there alive. Wai Shengru was shocked. Then is not Shen Changjun in great danger right now? And where did the holy monk go? At this time, Du Mingyue had already rushed to the palace of Yangguo to meet the emperor. Meanwhile, deep within the Chaos Land, just as Shen Changming expected, Shen Changjun had fled here with Yin. At this moment, Yin was still unconscious. Shen Changjun touched Yin's ice-cold hand. She had no idea how much longer Yin could hold on. Immediately, Shen Changjun took off her own cloak. She covered both Yin and herself, using her own body heat to keep Yin warm. Yin let out a soft cough, and slowly, he began to wake up. Seeing Yin awake, Shen Changjun felt relieved. She hurriedly told him not to go anywhere starting from today. She told him to be a good boy, listen to her, and recover from his injuries. But Yin said nothing, only repeatedly complaining about the cold. Hearing that, Shen Changjun reached out and pulled Yin into an embrace. Yin whispered that it was still a bit chilly. Shen Changjun used more force, pulling Yin's head right against her chest. As Yin felt Shen Changjun's embrace, a sly, successful smile played on the corner of his lips. "I told you already. I am really fine." Moving slowly, they were unable to advance further. Suddenly, the divine Qi Key emitted a golden glow. The barrier has opened. Could the wood spirit artifact be in the deepest part of the Chaos Lands? Looking at the scene before her, Shen Changjun could not help but marvel. Is this the kingdom from 1,000 years ago? At this moment, Shen Changjun's Honkyu sword began to tremble slightly. It started acting out of her control. In the next second, it dragged Shen Changjun along. "Oh mama, help," brakes fast as she was about to hit the ground. Yin gently caught Shen Changjun, making an elegant landing. Thanks, thanks, thanks. Yin patted Shen Changjun on the head, indicating she was very welcome. The next second, Shen Changjun turned her head and saw something. A golden light flashed from within the branches of a colossal tree. Qianye and Shen Changjun walked side by side to the foot of the divine tree. Could it be like the 1,000-year divine tree in the northern wasteland? Has it also stood tall in the southern wasteland for 1,000 years? Meanwhile, the other pair of master and disciple were walking through the desolate jungle. The disciple listened to the story told by her master. She sighed, thinking it was such a tragic love story. I always thought our princess from 1,000 years ago did it all for the sake of her country, that she entered a fake political marriage, endured the humiliation, and finally killed the enemy prince. I never expected they were actually childhood sweethearts, and that they were deeply in love with each other. In the next second, the disciple, Ruru, blinked her big watery eyes. She looked up at Shen Changming. She signaled that she had not heard enough. She wanted to hear more of these tragic romances. You never cared about these storybooks before. Why are you so obsessed with these lovey-dovey stories this year? Did the saintess hit you so hard at last year's grand ceremony that your brain started leaking? After saying that, he turned and walked away, not forgetting to warn his disciple that girls should listen to fewer love stories. Focusing on cultivation should be the priority. Shen Changming looked at the open barrier and stepped inside. Meanwhile, Shen Changjun and Qianye looked at the 1,000-year divine tree. Was it all just a missed opportunity? If the prince of the southern wasteland back then and the princess of the northern wasteland had made a different choice, would the outcome have been different? Shen Changjun scratched her head. She asked, Yin, you have reached the peak of the spirit severing stage. As a half-deity, you won't age easily. You must be several hundred years old by now. You should understand all this romantic stuff, right? She then questioned Yin further. She asked if he had ever met a girl he liked. Yin's face grew somber at that moment. My surname is not Yin. It is just that I have someone in my heart. There is a Yin in her name. That is why I took Yin as my alias. Wow. The sweetheart of a peerless powerhouse must be incredible, right? Or maybe a legendary beauty. Qianye spoke slowly and deliberately. She is the most beautiful and extraordinary person in the world, the one who treats me the best. And in my eyes, she is the only one in the entire world. Shen Changjun, the person in my heart. As you. In the next second, the key of divine aura activates. Golden light splashes in all directions. Ice and snow melt away. Withered trees meet a new spring. A single thought of love is born, and all things come to life. Shen Changjun points at herself with a face full of disbelief. You like me. Qianye takes off the Ziyushan mask. I like you, Shen Changjun. Even if I saw you tens of millions of times again, my heart would still beat for you. Actually, I am. Before Qianye can finish his sentence, the mulling Shenqi activates the illusion realm. Shen Changjun feels an indescribable energy, slowly sucking her inside. Qianye grabs Shen Changjun and is pulled into it, along with her. The illusion realm closes instantly. On the other side, Shen Changming and his disciple hear strange noises from the surroundings, always feeling like something is off, but unable to say exactly what is wrong. An illusion. Suddenly, my head feels so dizzy. The mulling Shenqi is indeed here. As a green vortex strikes, time shifts into a 1,000-year-old barrier. The mulling Shenqi illusion realm has opened. Inside the Yangguo Imperial Palace of Biwang, 1,000 years ago, a little girl in a pink outfit is frolicking around. The little girl pushes down a hostage prince in purple robes. She mocks him with a smirk. The bratty eldest princess is bullying the hostage prince from Nanwang again. The little girl is Han Bing, the eldest princess of Yangguo from a millennium ago. Han Bing is stunned for a moment. Eldest princess. Who is the eldest princess? I am Shen Changjun. She looks down at her tiny, tender hands. Oh my god, I have transmigrated again while already inside a transmigration world. Are we playing Russian nesting dolls here? Shen Changjun rubs her chin. Eldest princess. I have transmigrated as the tragic female lead of a Biwang melodrama from 1,000 years ago. The system's voice rings out. Congratulations, host, on transmigrating into a 1,000-year-old tragic love story. Mission system initialized. Complete the missions to return. You must complete the key events in this tragic romance. Redemption system online. Complete the quest to exit the illusion. Failure is not an option. Warning, immersion levels are high. Backup system ready. Host, please proceed with caution. Failure to complete the penalty tasks will result in being lost in the illusion forever. If you die before exiting the illusion realm, that will be a true death. Your soul will perish permanently. Aside from the host, others can only exit if missions are cleared. Warning, other subjects may lose their original sense of self. Memories from 1,000 years ago will be fully implanted. Only by completing the mission can everyone regain their original memories. Characters may be influenced by the original personality of the host body. If the mission fails, everyone will be lost, leaving only you awake. You will retain your full memories and self-awareness. Complete consciousness and self-identity maintained. Failure to exit means becoming a lost soul in the system. Mission completion is the only way for the whole team to exit. Otherwise, total memory loss and eternal entrapment await. You only need to interact with a few lines of dialogue. You are free to improvise, host. Shen Changjun feels like she has been struck by lightning. Heavens, how can there be such a bizarre system? Besides, I am a 25-year-old lady at heart. How can you let me lay a hand on a 12-year-old kid? And a tragic romance at that, seriously. Shen Changjun points angrily at the spirit, but the wood spirit just wears a sunere little expression, totally ignoring Shen Changjun. The next second, Han Bing looks confused, pointing at the hostage prince on the ground. Wait, you are... In an instant, Han Bing turns into a total fangirl. Who is this little hottie? He is way too cute. So kawaii, however. Outside the illusion, Shen Changjun and Qianye are tied beneath the mulling sacred tree. Meanwhile, the still hard-working Ziyushin kneels before the wood spirit, pleading with him. Big bro divine artifact. My master needs to hide his identity. Please make sure his face is not recognized by acquaintances in this illusion. You have no idea how scary my master is when he gets angry. Please just do me this favor. Mulling put on a composed, big brotherly front. Okay, granted. Returning to the illusion, Han Bing pinched the hostage's cheeks repeatedly. So cute, so weak. But the next second, Han Bing froze in place. It turned out she saw the hostage was also wearing the exact same mulling ring on his hand. Isn't this the divine artifact key? Could it be? Could the host of this little boy be? Could it be Yin? Other than me, no other hosts have their original skills, but they do keep their original personalities. In the next second, their fingers intertwined. The little boy suddenly jumped up, shouting, "You are bullying me. I am definitely going to marry you. Once I marry you, I won't be at a disadvantage anymore, because then you will belong to me. I have been confessed to again." What goes on in kids' heads these days? Where is the logic? But thinking about being confessed to twice in one day, Shen Changjun felt a surge of secret pride. The next moment, they started scuffling. Let go of me, no. The hostage pushed Han Bing down. You listen up, Han Bing. When I grow up, I am going to marry you. Just you wait. After saying that, he ran off, leaving Shen Changjun standing there completely dazed, recalling what just happened. Damn it. I actually got flirted with by a little brat. The system pinged, task completed. Shen Changjun did not even hear the system's voice. She just kept muttering to herself. He is way too young. Am I really in a tragic romance with a child? Am I some kind of monster? On the other side, Mulling rubbed his big head. Didingbu has its own memories. Meanwhile, Mulling rubbed his big head. She has her own memories. Little sis Shuling, I have done your master a huge favor, possessing her own memories. True memories. Pure memories. She is the only one who keeps her memories even if he dies. Is there a chance she could go on a date with me? Shuling Divine Artifact replied, fine, I will think about it. The narrator was also shocked after seeing this. Holy crap, even divine artifacts are playing the tragic romance game now. How is a long-time single narrator supposed to handle this? Just in time, Little Mulling sent a notification. Task 2. Complete the reunion of the bickering rivals. However, upon pushing open the main gates, the manor was cold and deserted. There was no festive atmosphere for a wedding send-off at all. Just then, a servant saw Shen Changjun standing in the middle of the courtyard, and immediately turned pale with shock. Why is the eldest princess here? Then who was the person who just entered the bridal sedan? Could it be the one raised in the temple since childhood? The little princess, who only returned yesterday. Shen Changjun, looking skeptical, asked Little Mulling if it did this. But Little Mulling flatly denied it. Aside from a few major events, it does not interfere with anything else. This is a high-freedom open world, you know. Shen Changjun was also puzzled. Logically, other characters should exist like NPCs. Could it be that the little princess is also a host possessed by an outsider? But there is no time to overthink it now. Shen Changjun decided to ride to the southern barbarian lands alone, to find Yin, and then complete task 2. Meanwhile, in the southern barbarian's sacred palace, the Prince Regent was summoning the world's top assassin. However, this assassin's name was very strange. He was called Zushi Ninlai Guodao. Why do not you all try reading his name backwards, to see what it says? And looking at those familiar, squinted eyes. Who did you think of? The regent's reason for hiring an assassin was quite simple. He offered 30,000 gold for her to assassinate the northern wilderness princess, who was coming for a political marriage. That night, the young princess was just preparing to rest at the post station. Suddenly, an iron fan covered in sharp spikes was pressed against her neck. But the assassin realized she was not the eldest princess. Upon seeing the assassin, the young princess far from panicking, actually leaned in and kissed his cheek. "Mr. Assassin, it is a pleasure to meet you, because I think I quite like you." After saying that, she actually pulled up the covers and just went to sleep. She completely ignored the #1 assassin in the world. How could the assassin tolerate such humiliation? He raised his hand and actually tucked her in properly. It seems that even in an illusion, Little Ru and Little Ming will still be lovey-dovey. But on the other side, Shen Changjun was in a miserable state. Here, with her mortal body, she could not fly on a sword. Traveling day and night had completely drained her health bar. But just then, she thought of Yin again. Her little face instantly turned bright red. It has been 10 years. He must have grown into a refined and elegant gentleman, as gentle as jade. At that moment, a clamor arose from the crowd. His Highness the Crown Prince has returned from wiping out the bandits. But what Shen Changjun saw was a face full of bloodlust, stern and ruthless. For a moment, she could not believe her eyes. How did he become like this? Could this be his true self? That face was filled with killing intent. It reeked of the thick stench of blood. It reminded Shen Changjun of the Ju Qianye from the first time she read the original novel. He was domineering and arrogant. His fearsome reputation was well known. He was revered by thousands because he cultivated the path of slaughter. He lived by the creed of stopping killing with killing. And suddenly, a sharp sword was pressed against Shen Changjun's neck. The southern barbarian crown prince had arrived before Shen Changjun. An overwhelming, baleful aura erupted from the crown prince's body. "Those who block my path shall die." This feeling, it is too familiar. It is exactly like the Shen Changjun from the previous life. At the very moment she was killed by Ju Qianye, because Shen Changjun was blocking the crown prince's way. The southern barbarian crown prince's subordinate held a sword to her neck. Terrified, Shen Changjun quickly said she was just an ordinary person. Just as the guard was about to eliminate her, His Highness the Crown Prince waved his hand to stop the guard. "She is my wife, the eldest princess of the northern wilderness continent." Shen Changjun was so happy she almost jumped for joy. "I can't believe he still remembers me. Then I must have a place in his heart." But who knew the Crown Prince would wave his hand again? "Seize her. Lock her in the prison carriage." When Shen Changjun heard this, holy crap, what kind of plot twist is this? Weren't we supposed to have a political marriage? The Crown Prince confirmed her words, but Shen Changjun's purpose for existing is to serve as a warning to the northern wilderness. And at a critical moment, she can be used as a sacrifice to the flag when we march on the north. Even for someone as clever as Shen Changjun, her brain could not process this at all. Just like that, she was ruthlessly shoved into the prison carriage. She had thought this was all just a misunderstanding. She never expected his killing intent to be so strong. And here I was, thinking he was some kind of peace-loving pacifist. In an instant, she felt that this illusion was the real world. The beautiful world outside must have been the illusion. At this moment, the system's notification came again. Mission 2. The reunion complete. But honestly, this reunion scene is definitely one for the books. And just like that, Shen Changjun was locked in a cage cart and escorted back to the southern barbarian palace. She could not help but sigh at how magnificent and grand this palace was 1,000 years ago. Only to become a pile of rubble a millennium later. It really goes to show, nothing can withstand the ravages of time, can it? The Crown Prince put Shen Changjun under house arrest, but at least, he ordered the servants to prepare some food for her. Shen Changjun thought to herself that she was not used to this kind of food. She still preferred sweets. The next second, Shen Changjun picked up her bowl and chopsticks and started devouring it like a beast. So what if it is house arrest? Hee, I will definitely stay far away from him. I won't provoke him at all. Who knew the system would suddenly drop a new mission? Seduce him. Share a bed and spend a night of passion with him. This nearly made Shen Changjun throw up a year's worth of meals. What the heck? Isn't this just asking Shen Changjun to go on a suicide mission? I am not doing it. Strong resistance detected from the host. Warning. If you fail to complete the storyline from 1,000 years ago, you will be lost in this illusion forever. Shen Changjun grabbed the little wood spirit, swearing she would chop it into pieces once they got out. Meanwhile, deep within the land of chaos outside the illusion, the southern barbarian saintess had already tracked them here. However, due to the protection of the wood spirit barrier, she could not enter the illusion for now. The saintess decided to play the waiting game right here, waiting for them to come out. Back inside, Shen Changjun snuck into the Crown Prince's bedroom in the middle of the night. She thought if she did not wake him up, she could just stay for one night and sneak away early tomorrow morning. That should count as completing the mission literally, right? Who would have thought that in the next second, the Crown Prince would pull back the curtains, look down and ask Shen Changjun, "You have been standing by my bed, smiling like an idiot for an hour. What exactly are you trying to do?" The southern barbarian crown prince remained calm and said, "You are not here to kill me, are you?" Hearing this, Shen Changjun jumped up in a panic. "How is that possible? I just wanted to sleep with you, that is all." As soon as she said it, Shen Changjun felt so embarrassed she wanted to die right in front of him. However, after hearing this, the southern barbarian crown prince just gave a faint "oh." He patted the side of the bed, tilted his head with his robes half open, and said, "Then hurry up and get in." Seeing him like this, Shen Changjun's face turned beet red, and a nosebleed erupted. In the next moment, the crown prince decisively grabbed her hand and pulled her directly into his arms. With a face full of bashfulness, Shen Changjun could not help but say, "How are you so natural at this? Have many women done this to you before?" But as soon as she said it, she regretted it. How could she say something that sounded so much like jealousy? The southern barbarian crown prince looked at her and explained, Ever since I returned from being a hostage, I have been stationed at the borders and have rarely seen any women." Hearing this, Shen Changjun became even more embarrassed. Then the crown prince hugged her from behind and said seriously, "You will be my wife. So, whatever you want to do to me is only natural." Shen Changjun spoke up, feeling a bit wronged. "But you said during the day you would use my blood to sacrifice to the war flag." The southern barbarian crown prince explained patiently, "I have my duties. Only after our wedding will you be the crown princess. By then, no one will be able to touch you. And if you give birth to my child in the future." At this point, Shen Changjun hurriedly covered his mouth. "Cut it out." She thought to herself, nothing's even official yet. Why are we already talking about kids? The next moment, she was completely mesmerized by the southern barbarian prince's face. "Ah, he is so handsome," the southern barbarian prince said blankly. "I think you said that out loud." Embarrassed, Shen Changjun panicked and pinned him down on the bed. She muttered, "Quick, get amnesia right now." But the southern barbarian prince held her hands and said, "I have said so much already. What about you? Are you willing to marry me?" Shen Changjun's face turned beet red, her heart racing as she whispered, "I have not even accepted your confession yet. How did we skip straight to a marriage proposal?" The southern barbarian prince gently kissed her hand. "Can't you tell? It was love at first sight, for me. The moment I saw you, I fell deeply in love with you." Shen Changjun looked bashful and stammered, You like me." The southern barbarian prince pulled her by the waist, speaking as if to himself. "Do you think we were lovers 1,000 years ago?" Hit by one sweet pickup line after another, Shen Changjun's head began to spin. Her brain completely short-circuited. He slowly and tenderly laid her on the bed, saying, "We have a long future ahead. You will never be imprisoned again. From now on, you can see me whenever you want." He then pulled Shen Changjun into his arms and murmured to himself, "I have this strange feeling, as if I have been waiting for you since my past life, waiting for you to love me. Could this be destiny?" However, Shen Changjun suddenly snapped back to reality, because only she understood. Her destiny in this world is to kill him. The two of them gradually fell asleep in each other's arms. Suddenly, a figure appeared by the window, followed by a series of beeping sounds. System prompt, Mission 4 completed. New mission, Survive the Night. Shen Changming and Weisheng Ru arrived in the mortal world. To avoid unwanted attention, he told her not to call him master. Weisheng Ru saw his face suddenly lean in close. By reflex, she bit his hand. After finally settling things, they went to a tailor shop to change their clothes. The shopkeeper guessed, "Are you two siblings?" Ru smiled and said, "Not at all. We are husband and wife." The shopkeeper thought, this pair looks like siblings, but they are actually a married couple. After changing into mortal clothes, the two went to an inn to rest. Seeing another handsome couple arrive, the innkeeper's eyes turned into hearts. She spoke up, "I am sorry, we are all out of rooms tonight, but you are more than welcome to stay in my heart." Helpless, they had to leave and search elsewhere. They wondered where Changjun Zhenren was and if she was in danger. "Husband, let us hurry to Luohe and find them." Ru stepped forward and linked her arm with his. The two of them walked away together. Calling him husband really rolls off the tongue. Nighttime, inside the room, Han Xiaoxiao and Shen Changjun were sleeping soundly. Sensing movement in the room, Shen Changjun opened her drowsy eyes and asked, Yi, why are you?" The visitor was indeed Qianye. He stared blankly at Shen Changjun on the bed. Seeing her awake, he immediately signaled her to be quiet. Shen Changjun nodded obediently. She asked why he had come. Her voice was so quiet that Qianye could not hear her clearly. They chatted for a while, but neither could hear what the other was saying. Sitting by the bed, Qianye sighed helplessly. He reached out and propped his hand beside her head. While she looked on in surprise, he leaned over her. This subtle posture and romantic atmosphere made them both blush instantly. Looking at Shen Changjun beneath him, he slowly leaned down. He leaned close to her ear and whispered, "Master, I find it hard to sleep tonight without you."